A night in with MauLer and the drinker, getting trashed with the web-screen dictors. A cheap night cause I'm feeling kinda thrifty, got a 10-pack of beers and a bottle of whiskey. Hop up the cork, have a glass of wine, I'll still say I'll be fine. Trouble walking in a straight line, but pour me a Pinot Noir. It's open bar with our hosts, MauLer and the critical drinker.
All right, hello, welcome everyone.
Hello.
Welcome, you wonderful people, to Open Bar number 126. It's good to be back for another episode. How are you, MauLer?
Finally.
Yes, another year, another Open Bar. Here we are.
It's been so long.
Yeah. I suppose tonight we should actually start with a bit of an RIP, like in memoriam, because we just found out that David Lynch sadly passed away today. He was,
just found that out.
78. I mean, it's not a bad age, but I didn't actually realize that he was ill, but apparently he'd been diagnosed with emphysema.
He was like a hyper smoker, right?
He was, pretty much every interview he's got one going, so yeah, that can't be doing you much good. But yeah, I mean, a sad loss. Obviously, a hugely influential filmmaker. I can't necessarily say I was the biggest fan of his work, but I absolutely appreciate him being something a bit different and a bit experimental and kind of a radical within the Hollywood industry. So, I mean, it's
not at all to invoke pretentiousness, but like he was absolutely an artist through and through. He had his own way of doing things, and he wanted to get them done. Like he had a way to express himself, and I thought. Always easily respectable aspect of the industry. It was really cool to see someone like that get as mainstream as he could, sort of thing. And there's nobody like him. He was completely unique, and it's a real fucking shame that he's gone.
Yeah. The film industry will be a sadder place without him, but he had one heck of a career and a hell of a life as well. So, yeah, big respect to David Lynch. I'm sorry to see you go, buddy. Anyway, we should move on with our episode. What I'd like to do, actually, because I've got pointless facts lined up for the year of our Lord 1926, but I'm going to bring the panel in so I can bore them to death with it as well at the same time. So how about we do that?
Yes.
We can inflict that on them. So, everyone, welcome to the bar. Snarky Jay, the Angry Badger, and Star Wars Theory, better known as T. Today. Hello, T.
I didn't know
new
brand there. Oh well. You know when you're trying to sign in and it's like I'm just like boom, whatever.
I can't be bothered moving my fingers over this keyboard. Fucking T. That'll do.
No. They'll know. They'll know.
Yeah. You know who
Lowercase too.
Yeah.
Well, you're humble. I appreciate that.
Don't mess with that higher case shit.
Anyway, well, welcome aboard, everyone. And as become custom, I suppose, at Open Bar, we tend to give some pointless facts about whatever year lines up with our number for Open Bar. In this case, we've actually reached and caught up with real life, and now we've skipped back again to go back to the olden times. And in this case, it's 1926. So it was a pretty different landscape in terms of media. It was actually a time before the MCU, if you can believe that. That didn't exist. We didn't have Twitter. It was a crazy time. But anyway, I was looking at like people that were born, first of all, in this year. Queen Elizabeth II was born in 1926. And we were just like, she died on one of our open bars, just like, what was it, 2 years ago? Just before it. So, I mean, someone who's
say it like that. She
nice
died
to come on the show to do it.
It's like she was
Sounds
on it,
like she came on the show.
Yeah, viewership.
A good place to do it.
We were this
so.
close to booking her, okay? It's just like her people and my people, we just couldn't get it to line up, but whatever. Also, Marilyn Monroe was born in 1926, and Fidel Castro, so it was a bit of a mixed year, I suppose, for the world.
Wow.
Trudeau's dad.
Trudeau's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. NBC was founded in New York City. And just for reference, so if you wanted to buy a pint of beer in 1925, it would cost you 5 British pence, which is roughly the equivalent of 70 pence today, which shows you how much we get fucked in tax, because now a pint, if you're in London, it's going to cost you like 10 quid. You could get a bar of chocolates for 3 pence, which was, I would say, is pretty good value. and the average man made £5 a week. But on the plus side, you could buy a house for £620. So, it's okay. It was also the time, like, because, we want to focus on movies and stuff here. It was the time when it was right at the end of that silent era, and they were just starting to get into, like, the talkies, as I found out. And they were pursuing two different ways of doing this. The first one was called Vitaphone, apparently, where you would get gramophone records that were synced to the audio of your film, and you have to play them alongside your movie, and that would contain all the dialogue, all the music, all the sound effects, that sort of thing. And you just had to hope that you got them to line up properly, and you had to change it multiple times throughout the movie. So you can imagine these poor technicians desperately trying to change the record and get it onto the next one before the scene moves on. So wasn't the best way of doing things, but they were also exploring, apparently, Theodore Case was experimenting with sound on film technology, and that was going to be. He founded a company actually to do it called the Fox Film Corporation, which you might have heard of. Anyway, that was called Movie Tone, and that was the beginning of like the actual talkie era. So it was just getting started. And in terms of like the actual biggest movies of the year, the biggest film of 1926 was What Price Glory by Fox Films, that made a whopping $2 million.
Beautiful.
That's some serious money right there. But yeah, it also gave us the first showing of Battleship Potemkin, the Soviet movie about the revolution. It was made the previous year, but it didn't make it into America until the following year. I don't imagine it was a huge hit in the States about a Soviet revolution, but oh well, it came out, so nice one. Anyway, that was the year of our Lord 1926. So I hope you've enjoyed those pointless facts that I was able to dig up about it.
I certainly
going back
did.
to the pricing.
I feel
Was that-
enlightened for sure.
I want a 5p beer.
The housing would be nice. The housing would be nice. Probably not double pane windows, but it's okay.
I mean, sure. Like, so what? £600? That would be about $750 maybe, and you could buy yourself a house. So
To think all I was doing in 1926 was wasting my time floating in the ether when what I should have been doing was investing in real estate.
you could have done that, and it would be paying dividends for you now. But that's
Foolish mistake on my part.
Snooze, you lose.
Didn't plan ahead. Didn't plan ahead. Anyway, well, let's talk about the current year. So we've just got to the end of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. We had the finale last night, and the show kind of died with, I guess, a bit of a whimper in terms of viewing figures. Didn't mind the actual show. I thought it brought it to a satisfying end. It was a fun little adventure. Overall, I thought the characters and especially the kid actors actually were pretty likable. They did not devolve into the crap that I would have expected from modern day Disney Star Wars, and I think that's pretty commendable. I just be curious to hear what your guys' thoughts were on the show itself and like whatever qualities it had.
Felt a lot of it was absolutely fine. Just sort of watching it, being like, "Yep, this is just a perfectly okay show for the demographic it's after." Obviously, I would have preferred certain things be given more focus or more time, or certain things be tightened up. But at the same time, I just wasn't passionate about it. So it's just like, whatever. There it goes. That's that.
There it goes. It's like watching a piece of garbage float by in a canal.
Little.
Oh, look at it go there.
It's a particularly nice looking piece of garbage.
Yeah, sure. Like maybe garbage is wrong. Like, I don't know, a kid's doll or something that's mildly soiled.
You know how I kind of rate it is, if a child were to give you a picture they drew, he's like 7 years old, are you going to critique it and be like, well, this should really look like a Da Vinci or it should look like a Ralph McQuarrie or something. So, yeah,
I would.
Like
I mean, I would destroy him.
I'm sure you would.
You call this
exactly
piece
what
of
my
art,
art
you
teacher did to me in
asshole.
kindergarten. So.
When we say it's for kids, though,
like the
It's not supposed
thousands
to
of
look like
adults
me.
that have worked on this thing have been compared to children now.
Right. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I get you. And it's like, I to some extent, it's like, okay, I get what your target audience was, and I know why you did certain things. Like you shy away from really any outright violence, and the bad guy's never too bad, and it's never too scary or anything. I just wonder if perhaps they've misjudged their own audience a little bit on this one. And I say that because I get the impression, one, that your average Star Wars fan is probably like a 50-year-old man at this point, like, because I don't think many kids are watching it anymore, and that's just completely like gut feeling on that one. And I think the second issue is the fan base now is only really responding to shows or movies that have got really recognizable things in it, like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, for example, or even Mandalorian. To some extent, it managed to carve out a niche for itself. With this, I felt like there was no real draw to this show.
I watched your video where you said like everyone basically needs like an Anakin or a Luke, and it's like, yeah, but also had they just put like a Kyle Katarn or someone who's just a good character, I think it easily. But then also this released after Acolyte, after Kenobi, and after everyone had already well and truly checked out. So even Jude doing his best, like touching on like Cade Skywalker, Pirate Jedi. I didn't think he went full bad because I didn't think he was bad ultimately. That he just was, it was a threat, and ultimately they called his bluff. He never would have actually killed the kids or the parents, which is why he just stared there at the end. And they definitely set up for his second season that we'll never get, because when they finally did something by people that actually liked Star Wars and didn't hate us, no one was there to watch it. So yeah, I was whelmed the entire way. Not overwhelmed, not underwhelmed, whelmed. It was, I enjoyed it, and I wanted more, and I loved the kids and the performances, and they had a character arc, but wasn't enough.
Do you think it would have been much better received if it had come out, let's say, post prequels? If you just dropped this,
yeah, of course.
If this had been Price of Reason, Film Comics Explained, there's a couple of people that like at the beginning they were very like, and by the end they were like, yeah, had Disney just done this at the beginning, before all the goodwill was gone, we would be in a much different position. And also it probably would have been better as a movie.
Yeah.
You know, honed, tightened up.
I could see that.
Even after
I'd even
Rogue
argue if they put it out like right after the sequel trilogy, because at the end of the day, like we hated the sequel trilogy, right? But there were still little kids dressing up as Rey and Kylo Ren and all that stuff. And unfortunately, you know, they were so lackluster that even though they caught kids' attention at that time, like they don't hold up like the original trilogy or even the prequels. So all the goodwill is gone, and people's like the relevance of it as a brand is just gone. So had they released something like Skeleton Crew right after, I'm sure it would have done great, because the people that just took their kids to watch the sequel trilogy are obviously going to put that on for them. But they're like 10 years too late at this point, and coming right after the Acolyte, come on, it wasn't going to work.
Also go as far as saying the notion of a Star Wars TV show has nothing special about it anymore, if ever there was.
No.
Like there's so many, and some people don't even know which one's a which, that it's just like, who cares? Like there's another show, okay.
And the timeline confused people. Old Republic, is it old Republic or just the High Republic? And they never really clarified. So they threw out things that may pull people in, but not enough. And as pointed out, everyone that would have introduced this to kids, you alienated and told the F off. So like, I'm not making my niece or nephew watch this or asking, you want to watch Skeleton Crew?
Yeah. That's definitely where a feed of a child audience is going to be cut off, is the people who their family who used to love Star Wars and not interested in Star Wars anymore, so they're not going to push it to them. They're going to be like, hey, check this out, because I can enjoy it too. They'll just be like, no, you can watch
that's why
Disney Plus, if anything.
That is what I envisaged, that was their plan. It's like the adults are going to get enough stuff in it that they can enjoy it, like while they watch it with their kids. So like they can all kind of gather around and just have this little fun adventure. And there's enough like Star Wars-y elements to it that the adults will get like a little nostalgia kick to a degree. And the kids will be amused by the
I had fun guessing. What is the vault? What is Jod? Was he the Inquisitors find him? How does he? I had fun again, like guessing what was happening in Star Wars, even if I know all roads lead to Jake Skywalker.
You know what it kind of felt like? It was like after being repeatedly beat up by the Acolyte, you're just happy that this person's just not beating the living shit out of you.
So said some nice things to me. Didn't hit me.
Yeah. So I'm just
he told me he was sorry. So
Never
be fine now.
Yeah.
Did y'all like check my messages on Hinge? How is it that you're learning this? That's exactly the fucking dynamic.
I think there would have been two times that they could have released this where it would have done really well. One is directly after The Force Awakens, when interest in Star Wars was at an all-time high, but we hadn't had The Last Jedi to sour everyone's opinions of the brand. You know, that was a time when actually people thought, you know, Disney were actually doing a good job, relatively speaking. Or after season 1 of The Mandalorian, when the whole concept of Star Wars TV shows had just launched, Mandalorian was a surprise hit. Everyone was enthused, thinking like, it's been reborn on TV, and that's where the future lies. And if it had come out then, maybe 5 years ago, I think it would have done pretty good.
Especially because you could say Mando's the young adult show, Skeleton Crew is more of the kid show, and the concurrent content for.
Well, we say for kids too. I know this is pointed out. That doesn't mean it has to be bad or lazy. There's plenty of shows that were aimed at kids.
Absolutely not.
I know. I reference you as pointing out all the time. When I say this is for kids, I mean more like it follows certain tropes and rules that those movies follows. When most of those movies, the kids would all die horribly, but they don't because it's tropey and made for kids. Those are type of the rules that this show follows, and it works most of the time. Sometimes it gets a little ridiculous, but I found it worked most of the time.
Well, like the crash landing of the ship in, I think was the final episode for Robot Girl. I forget it. KB was it?
KB.
Yeah, Robot Girl.
I did have the exact thought of, well, this is a kid's thing. She can't die. But if it were an adult thing, it would have been kind of cool to have her die there. And the kids have to acknowledge that was their responsibility, that they had her do that.
Even the goddamn droid survives despite getting his fucking head lopped off.
Which I thought was kind of a cool, there's a few highlights in the show, but one of them was when he, Jude Law just fucking kills Smee. I was like,
Brutus. I like that very much, yes.
That wasn't too bad. Oh, no, I wasn't even talking about that, but that was also cool as well. But I'm talking about the droid where he decapitates Nick Frost. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Especially because at that point, there's a couple of things that don't make any sense. Like the fact that she just says unclaims these, reclaims these, no one can claim the ship. I was like, what the fuck does any of that mean?
Yeah, and the droid's just like, it's good enough for me.
You can't double stamp and triple stamp Lloyd.
I had to put myself in like a 7-year-old's mind, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that sort of thing makes you really like the droid. And he says like, stay back, kids, I'll take care of him, and then gets killed. I was like, that was an effective payoff for a kid's show in terms of tragedy sort of thing. But then he just comes back, and I was like, okay, kid show.
Because I get that the whole thing is just like Treasure Island, but like with space pirates and stuff. The only element that I thought was just a little bit like narratively confused or just like unintuitive was the whole idea of like the kids are just trying to get back to their home planet. But you also want to sell the idea that they're going out on this big adventure, but they're kind of not because they don't want to be on an adventure. They want to get home, but also their home is the source of the treasure that they're all kind of looking for. And like, you know what I mean? It just feels like they're trying to combine too many elements into one thing. It would perhaps make more sense if, I don't know, their planet was dying or something, or it had some major problem and it needed this special resource that they didn't have. And so they go out on this spaceship to go and find it. And then their goals just happen to align with Jude Law's character, who's just out for treasure. And it turns out they're all going to the same place. Something like that, where you can either be trying to get home or you can try and go out on an adventure, but it's kind of difficult to do both simultaneously. And I feel like the show kind of grapples with that a bit awkwardly throughout its whole run. Like it just felt like it was trying to mesh two concepts that don't work that well together.
It's kind of a big plot point though for the Star Wars lore. So I was to say the inclusion of all of a sudden the New Republic has this much funding. They could definitely use that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but does it even make sense? Why wouldn't the Empire have known about it and done?
Well, that's the point. Is they did. That's what I didn't at the end. Is the last message that the overseer supervisor got was that the Jedi were traitors, meaning that came from the Republic under Palpatine, meaning cities knew about the goddamn vaults and just left it there for a rainy day.
That's what
maybe.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
the thing is, the Empire knew, but why wouldn't they?
Were the Empire ever short on cash? Like,
no.
Did you ever get the impression that they
I thought this was the source of the cash? Like this was the bank. This was
no. I mean,
like literally when you're
planets.
When you're a galaxy-spanning dictatorship, I don't really think you need to worry about central banking or anything. Like,
no.
Okay, well,
you just
then
literally
why does the
command
planet
them
exist, though.
Just, like do it, or I'll blow your planet up. That's it.
The whole reason. There's no way you just lose track of a planet that's got more riches than the whole galaxy combined.
Yeah, but isn't the concept of like their worth, like Old Republic credits, just based on people's belief in them? It's like it's no different from like our belief in paper money. Like it has no intrinsic value. It's just stuff that we assign value to. And like Old Republic credits are worth something to space pirates because they're essentially just gold bullion. But I don't know. I guess the makers of this show, I don't think thought about it any deeper than that. It's just the equivalent of gold bars for pirates, but in space. That's literally all it is. Like, I don't think it's that deep.
No.
But the whole plot of Andor is them trying to get funding for their war. So like this is like this could fund all the wars.
I was
like,
going to say,
yeah.
value is value. If they can create shit tons of money from, even if it is the equivalent of gold bullion, then just like use it.
I don't know, man. It wasn't too. You didn't have to think about it too much. It was chill. It was
Right, but
whatever.
I'm saying it was fun. It gave you just enough that you could think about it a little more in the ramifications.
Yeah, I mean,
and,
sure. I definitely agree with MauLer. There were some moments where I was just like, okay, this is dragging on a little too long. Like that planet they went to with
The wall planet?
the kid army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, these are like, it touches on slightly interesting ideas, but like it all gets wrapped up so quickly and easily. Like that one gets wrapped up with like, hey, what if you guys were nicer to each other and didn't do the whole war thing anymore? And then the other girl's like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, and I thought it was
never
to show
thought of
how
that before.
nice. Look at how they grew up on a vault world, basically, versus how
Sure, and
characters are growing up.
And you can draw things like that from it, but it's like you're kind of doing the writer's work for them on that one. It's like, okay, there's some of these things you can imply from what you see, but it's like the script doesn't really touch on it that much because it doesn't have time. It's like it's got a 30-minute episode to wrap up this entire like subplot and then move on to the next thing. It's not quite enough. Yeah. It's kind of like what's her name? Like angry boss girl person. Fern, yeah, that's one. Yeah, like I actually appreciated that they gave her a character arc. It's like she's admitted at one point that she's not very tolerant of people who can't keep up with her. She's not very tolerant of Neo because he's a fucking blue elephant thing and he can't climb very well because he's got stubby arms.
He's in the land.
Yeah,
blue elephant thing.
I love that thing. My God,
and she's apparently not very tolerant of KB either because like KB doesn't want to like slow her down by saying like, look, I've got all these problems with like these implants that I've got and I need to stop and fix them. She doesn't want to do that because it'll piss her off, and like she comes to the realization by the end of the episode, yeah, maybe I'm a bit harsh and I'm a bit intolerant and I need to be a bit more understanding of other people. Yeah. It's tiny little baby steps, but it's like it's a character arc.
There were some moments.
Yeah. Look at them go. It's like you wouldn't get that in other Star Wars shows, I don't think.
No, I think it was okay.
There were a lot of nice messages for kids in this one, and I think the main thing being, dream big, for God, what was his name? Kip
Wim.
Yeah.
Wim, yeah.
I do the breakdown of the video and it's out. It's done. And there's a little message like don't trust everyone, with Jod and fight for your friends and all that stuff. And
it wasn't key jangling, but when he said your focus determines your reality and the thing about attachments, that's fucking key jangling done right. I loved it.
Is it? Where did he get this shit from? Is it
it's like a Jedi Praxium.
Qui-Gon? Well, yeah, maybe. But that was probably the most interesting part of the whole show for me was that this guy, it's kind of a new, fresh story where it's like he was actually trained by a Jedi and then he watched them get massacred by Order 66.
Yeah.
Like once they found him.
Some of the me and Drake were talking about just before we started was like, I don't want to see that show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was the Inquisitors
I want to see him
and
go on an adventure.
Killed his master in front of him, then he escaped.
Was it Vader?
Right? Like, bro, where's that?
Determined his worldview forever, which is just the world is a harsh and horrible place, and you have to take what you can while you can.
Right.
I was
He's
like,
not wrong.
Because I totally get like where they could take him in season 2, like they'll give him a slow redemption arc. Because
did you see John Watts talk about it? He's got it written that it's supposed to have a time jump. He's not going to do a Stranger Things and say it's the next day. So if they do it,
probably not going to happen because the viewership was in the toilet, and it's a shame because, like I say, man, like if I had to pick a show that probably deserves a season 2, it'd be this. Like I don't want to see another Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Like I don't want to see them butcher Obi-Wan Kenobi anymore. I don't want to see another Book of Boba Fett. But this, I'd be like, there's legs to this. There's potential there.
Yeah, out of the ones that aren't getting, because Andor's getting its season 2, which I'll see the end of that story. But this is the next one up in terms of like, there's some potential there,
Yeah,
and looks like we're see the end of it, I suppose.
I mean, this is because we touched on this earlier. Like the Star Wars brand overall now is damaged to the point where it can't support weak shows like this. And I say weak in the sense that like it doesn't have a big draw. It doesn't have Darth Vader in it. It doesn't have like a huge actor or anything in it. It's the sort of thing that if the brand was strong, this show would have done just fine. People would have given it a chance and probably enjoyed it. But it doesn't have that anymore. It doesn't have that support there. And so Andor season 2 is going to fail as well. Like, or at least it'll probably be good, but no one's going to
Probably.
fucking
They're
watch
waiting
it.
for it, right?
Yeah,
MauLer will watch it.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, but,
I
like,
mean, I
not
watched
enough
the last
people.
season, but like, it doesn't make much of a difference, does it? Like,
No.
it's
Reviews
very
won't be-
likely
But
to
that
fall.
had the views going up over time, correct? Like it might have
This is why
some.
I'm
think the
very
views went
interested
up.
to see what may happen as a result. I don't know if there's been enough buzz or cult following, so to speak, post release that season 2 could have a much better release, but it may very well do. It still could fail, though, so to speak.
I think it's still got the fundamental problem of nobody really cares about Cassian Andor.
It's Diego Luna.
I get like the show is way bigger than just him, but like when he's the centerpiece of it, like marketing wise, like there's not much for people to latch on to.
No.
That's what I think is the big problem with Andor, though, because like when I reviewed it, I had all these people calling it Anbor, and it was infuriating because it was the one Star Wars thing that I was like, this is good content. Like the writing, I thought personally was really good. That monologue at the end, that whatever the Skarsgård's dad gives, I mean, I thought it was like really intense. I thought it was good shit. Like it felt like it wasn't written by assholes with crayons in a writing room, you know, a mouse. But then like it revolves around this guy. Like he's the guy on the posters, and to me, I felt like everybody around Cassian Andor is interesting, and he's kind of just like, all right, I'm waiting for you to finish what you're doing so I can see what everybody else is doing. He's not like a really marketable character, and it's not. That show's gonna fail in its second season, which is fine. It only needed 2, but I don't think anybody's watching that shit.
I just hope it's good. I don't really care if it doesn't get the viewership; it'll be fine with me because Star Wars is dead anyway. It's
Same
just like,
quality, not a
and
Arcane
besides,
season 2
if it gets
situation.
good viewership, the implication could be that's like, oh, so we should make more stuff. I'm like, maybe just don't.
What?
Maybe
Yeah, just don't.
Hell no. Acolyte
Someone
season
said
2,
it.
no way.
If
Honestly,
Andor had been,
for the pure lols, I think it would be worth it.
Oh god, no.
if
It'd be
Andor had
funny.
been Katarn and Jan Norris stealing the Death Star plans and an actual character that people like, and just got an actor with charisma, which you could still sort of do, by the way. But yeah, I don't know if anyone's going for Diego Luna.
No,
I'm
and
excited to see
doesn't-
more
it doesn't
Stellan
really have it.
Skarsgård.
Acolyte's the whole reason why we're in this problem. You know, Acolyte, Last Jedi, Boba. Did you see the rumors about the new villain for Mando and Grogu movie?
Yeah, I was going to
From
bring
Clone
that
Wars?
up actually because I've got an article pulled up about it.
That's
that I
another
can-
yeah. Oh well.
Do tell.
Well,
I feel like
I
I
mean-
missed this.
Yeah, so apparently the main plot is expected to revolve around a mission to save Rota the Hutt. You know, that well-known character that
Played
we're
by the
all
guy from
invested
The
in.
Bear, right? That
Jeremy Allen White?
yeah.
No, he needs to
supposed
go
to
back
be
to doing
Jack.
Calvin Klein ads. I did not ask for this.
supposed
So
to be
this
a
is
jacked
pulled
Hutt.
from the Clone Wars, isn't it? This storyline,
Yeah.
if I'm
One
not
of the first
mistaken.
episodes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah,
So I've seen that one.
So it says here, right. So reports that the Mandalorian and Grogu villain is going to be the bounty hunter Embo, who appeared in Clone Wars series episodes. Dave Filoni voiced Embo in the Clone Wars. Funny that, isn't it? And will
Bro.
reportedly return to do the same in Mandalorian and Grogu. So Christian Harloff also believes that the plot involves Din Djarin and Grogu being hired to rescue Rota the Hutt while Embo has been hired to kill him. So it's like a race against time to either save or kill this guy.
Oh,
Bespin Bulletin apparently backs that up. They've heard the same thing. And it says they believe Embo has been hired by the Hutts, potentially the two who appeared in the Book of Boba Fett. I mean, if this is true, that is a pretty obscure set of events to
That
base an entire
certainly
movie
sounds
around.
like a movie.
Does it sound exciting at all?
A movie of all time.
Yeah,
What would the plot? I don't know. What would the plot have been about, like broadly on piece of paper, that would make you go like, "Oh yeah"? Like, is there anything?
Them
I mean,
avenging the show
he's-
after Lizzo went on. That would
Heir
have
to
been
the
great.
Empire would have been kind of interesting, but I feel like they can
Ancient
focus
Jedi
so much.
holocron, something. I don't know.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
different on that, man. I
there's
feel
so
like
much
if
shit.
it was anything that sounds good, I'd be like, "Oh fuck, they're gonna."
He's
ruin
got
that."
to do some mission for the First Order or
Dude,
something.
this
That's
is
just
literally-
stirring in the background. I don't know.
Yeah, this is gonna be like probably the Hutts are gonna go to Boba Fett, and then Boba's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm busy right now. I've got another guy for you." And then he calls Mando. Mando's like, "I'll do it," and then that's it.
Well, Fennec Shan would call for Boba because Boba doesn't get to do
Exactly.
No,
Boba
he
doesn't
would-
do
yeah,
anything.
yeah, exactly.
He's got a
100%.
receptionist. He's not even capable of
it.
answering.
And just
the
when you
phone.
think she'd shoot something, she'd pull a
Well,
knife out.
it's gonna be like a, I don't know. I mean, Dengar and a bunch of bounty hunters are with Embo, so we'll see that at least. which probably means we'll get Boba at the end of it somehow, because everyone wants to see Boba and Dengar, and Bosk.
I wanted
Bosk.
to see that 10 years ago, and then they castrated
yeah, like,
Boba Fett and let him
Yeah, I
look
mean,
How long
after,
are we gonna be in
after
this
Book of
fucking
Boba Fett, I
cycle?
don't want to see it.
But what I'm
Oh.
saying is that this movie plot should have been what the Boba Fett show could have been. This would have been much better.
Yeah.
I honestly think, man, how do I put this? I think they think the Mandalorian is a much bigger deal than he actually is.
Yeah, but
The third
because
season,
yeah,
it's
because
ruination.
for
buy
a
into
start,
this-
like success on Disney Plus is not the same as success in the movie theaters. Okay, like you need to appeal to a way bigger audience than
Well, how
that,
good
and
was
a
their
lot of
success
people.
with season 3
There-
anyway?
Yeah, well, exactly. This is where I'm going with this, and it's like even if like all 3 seasons had been like very successful and they'd all been good quality, I still think a lot of people who go and see Star Wars in movie theaters would still have no fucking clue who the Mandalorian is. They just wouldn't be that invested to watch these Disney Plus shows.
Yeah.
And so like you factor in the fact that season 3 was a complete disaster and probably turned a lot of fans away. This is not a particularly strong IP to base a character on a movie around.
Did you
I
hear
Yeah,
that
I-
if it
No.
fails, he's not getting more movies? Filoni's not getting his crossover if this Grogu and Mandalorian
Filoni
doesn't?
shouldn't be in charge of a fucking Starbucks or something. Like this is
Yes.
just he is not the guy. He's not the guy who's going to save Star Wars, I'm afraid. Ahsoka proved that.
Dude, have you Ahsoka season 2? We're getting Anakin, Obi-Wan, and the kid Ahsoka back again. I was just like, that fucking 5th episode where the whole internet went wild over flickering Vader. We're gonna get it all over again because it was
He
it's what we're-
Vadered. He
Red
Vadered MauLer.
lightsabers.
Okay, I liked it, but it was just because I like to see Hayden again, and he knows how to swing a saber, and
That's what I
at
mean.
least he
It's-
performs it well. But
This is
yeah.
so-
this
it's
is
so
exactly goes back to
unfair.
the point I made earlier. It's like you got excited about that because it's an actor or a character or both that you used to know and you like, and they've come back for a little bit, like a little cameo,
I'll take the
and that
heat for
gives you that
Fury. I'll
really
sit for
cheap
Hayden.
dopamine hit in your brain.
But
that
Please
be-
just give me
oh,
a
yeah,
Hayden
sure.
show.
But if
Okay,
I can,
Well,
yeah,
Be
if
a
I can be
Hayden
Hayden show.
absolutely
have.
clear, I am
Well,
very happy to see them reprising those
Okay.
roles. I don't want Dave Filoni writing and directing it into sludge where it's nothing.
Yes.
I get no meaning.
Apparently, we will.
with you.
We will see them in the Clone Wars flashbacks in season 2.
That's what the
Supposedly.
first season had.
That's what we
We'll
want.
see it with Obi-Wan this time.
Okay. All right.
With all of them.
This isn't going to work.
Yeah,
This-
They
is
won't
the
do what
thing,
we
right?
want.
Particularly like if you haven't done a movie in what has it been now 5 years since we had Rise of Skywalker, so there hasn't been a
Something like
Star
that.
Wars movie
More
in
than
5 years. If
Something
you're
like
going to come back after that period of time, right, and particularly when the last one wasn't well received, man, you've got to come back swinging. You have got to come back strong with something that will really grab the public's attention.
yeah.
The Mandalorian and like puppet baby
Road to the
retarded
Hut.
Yoda is not going to be it.
With fucking
not
Rod
gonna
of the
do it.
Hut and Embo. I mean, sorry, no, that's
Yeah,
not
characters
that.
that no one knows about.
No.
Yeah, I think they're bringing in like a lot of obscure bullshit because Dave Filoni likes his little Clone
Well,
Wars self-inserts, and that makes zero sense for the general public. And at the end of the day, I think we can kind of all come to the agreement that The Mandalorian did as well as it did because it came out with Disney Plus. So it became like this exclusive thing that you had to subscribe to get, and everybody was talking about the little fucking green thing. I had a collection of them, okay?
Mhm.
I received so many more, and they all ended up in a trash bag going to Goodwill. And my cardboard cutout of the Mandalorian that watched me sleep for 3 years straight actually got lit on fire like 2 weeks ago. So at the end of the day, they've even alienated people who were like really bought into that
You
bullshit.
should tell
They
your
just
fans that's what
eliminated
happens to them
Goodwill.
if they watch you sleep.
Every so often I like to open my videos, like particularly when it's about Star Wars, with a video of like a Grogu in a hydraulic press just getting squished. just because I'm like, yo, you know what? Because I know what that thing represents. I know that it's just a cynical marketing tool, and I'm like, oh fuck that little green thing. Like
My
squish it.
co-host Nerd Wars has a Grogu that he routinely beats every day and abuses just because that's what the people
There's
want.
that video
Is he
as
okay?
all the head of
Jesus Christ.
baby Grogu. It's a very hateable baby. What can you
It's a
say?
puppy. He comes back from it. He's fine.
But to echo what Drinker was just saying, right? Like to return the sort of silver screen box office giant that is Star Wars, to return after this long, you need to be careful what you're doing, right? mainline episodes with all characters advanced 30 years or whatever in a brand new war with all kinds of amazing directors and writers behind it is one thing. To then be like, yeah, we're going to take that TV show that no one's really watching anymore and make a movie sequel. You're like, oh, okay.
Star Wars
that
Legacy,
comes out,
just adapt it.
And if it makes like a paltry, fucking 400 million cap or some shit, could you imagine? People will be like, oh shit, Star Wars is actually like fucked.
I think you're actually being generous there in terms of what it's going to make, because
the thing is, it goes the same for like an Avengers, where the fact that it's had a 5-year gap, people will be like, okay, Star Wars movie in the cinema, I'll go check it out. But if you put out a shitty one about things people don't care about, you are murdering like that little benefit you could have from being away for so long.
Everyone says put it on ice, but essentially it is on ice because
it's
no one will be
on
interested.
Movie ice, yeah.
Right. It's when Kathy leaves, whenever she leaves, and it'll probably be 5 or 10 years from now, that is the only time people go, oh, she's gone? Let's see what they do. Other than that,
this is why I suggested, like, wait 5 or 10 years, right? And presumably in that time, she'll either retire or fucking die of old age or something. Like, either way, you've gotten rid of her. And in that case, then you can move on to a new creative team with a new creative direction and relaunch Star Wars. And you perhaps allow audience anticipation to build up a little bit, because here's the problem, right? And the same problem has now occurred with Marvel as well, where they are no longer memorable in terms of pop culture. They are commodified. They are forgettable. They are Big Mac meals of entertainment. You eat it, you enjoy it like for a few seconds. You probably get a bellyache afterwards because it's made of garbage, but then you forget about it and move on, right? That's what those movies are. That's what those franchises are now. People, even if the things that are halfway decent, like in Marvel's case, I don't know, like what was the last good thing that they made? Daredevil and Wolverine, right? That was good.
Yeah, Daredevil and Wolverine.
Daredevil,
a lot of people like that.
That movie, that was great.
That was fine. But then no one talks about it anymore. They forgot about it. Like, because the whole MCU thing is just forgettable. And so, like, if you don't have that constant stream of good stuff coming out, people just forget about it and move on. And that's where the position they're in now.
That's kind of the way movies and stuff are going now. It's got that TikTok vibe where it's just like, all right, that was great. I totally forgot about it once I scrolled past. It's you just got to keep up with the content, and it's unfortunate because it's not like, you're releasing the Goodfellas or something that someone remembers. It's just like, okay, cool, we consumed. We got to make the next product for them to consume the next thing. It's unfortunate, but it's shitty storytelling with Flash.
Well, it's when you oversaturate it and you dilute the quality. Like those two things combined, because ultimately people are always going to remember the first 3 Star Wars movies. Like they made a cultural footprint that you're not going to erase easily. Yeah. Same with all the big franchises. Same with Star Trek, the early stuff. Same with, I don't know if like I can really say this about anything MCU related. Probably the first phase, like, it definitely didn't make a cultural footprint that we remember, but like not as iconic as some of these other franchises. But either way, it did a thing. We don't have that anymore. And it's just dilution by like sheer volume of stuff that's subpar. And
I do wonder how MCU will hold up. Because you just mentioned it, there was a time where I would have unironically told someone that they have to watch 20 movies so that they can understand this next movie coming out, and I would not do that now. So I wonder what people think about MCU going forward.
And it's not box office. That doesn't define the imprint that it makes. Because look at Avatar. The 2 Avatar movies, no one ever talks about them, but they're some of the biggest films ever made, ever. Yeah. No one cares, though. Like, they didn't make any cultural footprint.
I think what really made a change was, for me, it was Spider-Man. The first one that came out. Everyone always talks about Iron Man in the first phase. For me, it was like Spider-Man, Blade, the first X-Men that came out. That was like, it was different. And then, then MCU kind of like took hit. But those were like the big ones that I feel like really changed the game. And then it just kind of kept going. It was still okay, but it kept going downhill. And then Hulk turned into that.
Whatever that was. Yeah.
Professor Hulk.
Smart Hulk.
Yeah. Professor Fuck Up.
Estrogenic Hulk.
Cuck Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah, Cuck Hulk.
I just feel like they needed to have given up after Endgame.
Sorry. Yeah. That Smart got a new name. The Culk.
We're adults.
We're
all
children.
adults.
Sorry. No.
Fucking hell, yeah.
No, we're the kids that made all this shit worth so much today.
He did it to himself. Bring back Edward Norton. My God, we brought back everyone else. Just bring back Edward Norton.
You think that was the best Hulk?
Comparative to Mark, yes, I would much prefer.
I like Eric Bana.
Eric Bana was
Eric
great.
Bana was good.
He's pretty good. I didn't like the movie, but I liked him.
Right.
Oh yeah, here's the hottest take. Ruffalo Hulk in Avengers was good. It was good.
Yeah.
Do you mean the writing was good, or like
he
his
was good?
performance good?
Watch the film again. They directed him to actually have a character. Watch it.
What do you think happened after
bring
that?
back Eric Bana.
Let him go. Yeah, bring back Eric Bana as like the duality there.
That.
That's like a total different franchise Hulk.
Of the three Hulks,
there.
which one's your favorite?
Whatever. Everything's broken anyway, Drake.
I thought Edward Norton was fine. Like I thought he did it. He did the job, I think, and he did it better than Mark Ruffalo did. I can buy into him as Bruce Banner more than I could buy into Mark Ruffalo.
Like MauLer's right; he's good in Avengers, and that's probably, I guess, in hindsight, one of my favorite MCU films because everyone's done more or less correct there. But I did like something about maybe I just liked his Banner better than I did Ruffalo. I don't know.
His first scene with Black Widow in Avengers, that's already like you buy it. It's much better. He got fucking ruined. And he's just that like quiet maniac sort of thing.
Yeah.
Someone's asking, does Norton even act anymore? I can't remember the last good thing he did. I mean, the last thing I saw him in was Glass Onion, I think. I'm not going to say good.
Oh my
but
God. Fucking hate that movie.
Yeah. I think he's actually got a pretty bad reputation for being difficult to work with.
He does.
By all accounts, he actually made the Hulk quite a difficult movie to get made.
Correct me if I'm
had
wrong.
his own input on that one.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he wanted his own scenes to be shot, right? Like they would do the movie scenes, and then he'd be like, I think it would be better if we did this. Can we shoot mine as well? It would be like, no.
Like, sure, yeah, we'll add tens of millions of dollars onto the budget. No problem, Ed. Someone saying like Ed Norton looked a bit more like Bruce Banner. I mean, he kind of looks a bit more like skinny and weedy looking, so I buy in more as like the geeky scientist guy.
It's funny they're bringing everyone back from that movie, except they didn't cast Sam Elliott again as Ross, but they're going to bring back the guy that plays the leader, and they're going to bring back Liv Tyler without the Hulk.
Well, wait, Sam Elliott was Ross in the Eric Bana
Norton one. Yeah, but then that's who's
that was William Hurt, wasn't it?
Excuse me.
You're mixing franchises.
My bad. Yeah. See, I too want to mix Sam Elliott. Yeah, you're right. Bring Sam Elliott.
I like Sam Elliott as Ross, though. I'll give you that. Yeah.
How do you guys? Bad guy. How do you guys feel about Captain African American Man 4? Like, do you think that's going to be a big hit for everyone?
Mexican Falcon, Joaquin Torres. I'm here.
What are we doing as a franchise?
I mean, I feel like we don't even need the public's opinion. The fucking makers of this thing think it's a mess, obviously.
Yeah.
It's also the shortest Captain America movie, which goes to show you how little faith they have in people actually sitting through this crap.
Snow White and this one are on a run for the most budgets, the most rewrites, the most reshoots.
Yeah.
I'm very curious who's going to lose more.
I think this will make more money than Snow White, but not much more.
Not much more. Did you see the projections? It's like under 300 million total at the end of its run.
Oh shit, no way.
At least for domestic. I didn't look at it's still not enough.
At this point, the movie must have cost about 500 million to make, like with all the reshoots. It's absurd.
Those are the projections that it's over $500 million right now. If they think they're making any of that back on Captain, you've got to do better, Senator. They are out of their fucking minds. I'm telling you right now.
Thunderbolts, I keep hearing, might be generically fine. That it's been edited so much that it's just a generic action movie that, like Skeleton Crew, just won't upset people. But even that's not enough to make your profit.
I think, like then it'll just be a thing that no one cares about.
I would pirate it. I wouldn't go pay for it in theaters. And this is coming from somebody who was obsessed with Bucky back in the day. I got over that shit real quick.
You got over the Crow remake real quick too.
Oh.
I was mad about it for a year. What do you want me to do?
I was about to say, I think people should be over it now.
Just to make you feel better, I watched Gladiator 2, Drinker, by the way.
Why did you do that to yourself, though?
Gladiator is my favorite movie of all time.
You must
Really?
have loved the sequel, huh?
Very
Are
unnecessary.
you okay
film.
after Gladiator?
Very
2?
unnecessary. That's the
Very,
take.
very unnecessary film.
Wasn't it
and
great when he put on Maximus's superhero armor and took his name? And...
He
Yeah,
looked
he
like
had that,
he was
like-
doing cosplay. It was so bad. My
But-
dad looked at me. He's like,
yeah.
"Am I supposed to take this guy seriously? He looks like he's in high school."
You
If
know
that
what
had
it
been Aaron
felt
Taylor
like?
Johnson, I might have cared.
I love Aaron
It
Taylor.
kind of felt like a direct to DVD like Disney sequel
Yeah.
from the early 2000s. You know, that's
Yeah.
like something that they knew not that many people were going to watch, but it's like we're going to make loads of references to the original and try and tell it like a continuation of the story, but everything just feels like a bit cheaper and a bit more retarded this time around, and the actors aren't as good, and like the directors should have retired about 20 years ago, and like that, it's all that, and it's so lackluster and sad, and just no one's heart is in it.
What do you think of Denzel? Sorry, because I think his heart was definitely in it.
I feel like he was still playing
Had a little
Denzel.
too much
though.
fun. Yeah, that's what I thought too. But
like, because I said this before when we talked about it, like everyone else is there with like their stage, like theatrical British accents, like they're all pretending to be ancient Romans, and then you've got Denzel Washington with this fucking New York accent, just like striding in there, no fucks given. Like, he is a great actor. He's one of the best actors of his generation, and I generally love him in most things, but like, he is so fucking out of place in this film. It's weird. And then when he challenges, I can't even remember what the guy's name is, Maximus 2.0, to like a fight at the end. Denzel, you're 70 years old, right? And this guy's like 28. And
you don't
Was
want to
this
see
not
Rick
just a
Hannibal?
rerun of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson?
remember, we're getting a
Dude, don't
Denzel
even-
Carthage Hannibal movie.
Please don't even get me remembering that shit.
Yeah, this was a bad film, man. But like, this is the kind of slop we're getting used to now. Just like
That's the
more
thing.
shit.
It's there's no more good storytelling anymore. It's literally just Flash and Transformers and jangling keys, like you said. I remember I showed Nick Gillard the scene where Anakin turned into Darth Vader real quick. Where he was like, dude, he saw it for the first time. His reaction was, "Ah, fuck." It's like, fuck off. It's like, yeah.
He
Kind of cool though, don't you
He
think?
vadered.
And he just looked at me. He's like, "Mate." I was like, "Yeah, sorry."
The Crow was particularly perplexing, I've got to admit. Even now, I don't understand why that movie got made. Like, you are remaking a film, like a cult classic from, like, what, now 30 years ago?
30 years, yeah.
Monies.
Like, yeah, but what money did you think you were going to make from it? Like, it's
How
not
about
like The
Skarsgård?
Crow is some
Speaking of
massive
money.
franchise.
Speaking of money, you know what I'm really intrigued by is the new Terrifier movies that have been just dominating the box office. Absolutely. You seen Terrifier?
No, and I'm
Are they
okay with
dominated?
that.
Dude, what? It did better than some massive other film that actually
It's-
came out at the same time. And
I
it's
think
just
it's
like
because-
some low budget horror movie with a clown.
done well
That's
with
the
the
thing.
budget,
Like, they're
sure,
they're
yeah.
super low budget, and I think they've locked themselves now into this formula of like, what can we do to constantly top the gore, the disgustingness,
Yeah.
And okay, fine, but like that's a zero sum game. Ultimately, you're gonna hit the wall on that one where it's like, okay, we've gone as disgusting and horrible and like mean spirited as we can. We can't really do much more with this.
Nah,
I mean, it's fine for what it is, but like,
bring in a new character, a new villain, a new clown. It's
I
even
mean,
worse.
they're fine,
beat the old
I guess,
clown.
for what they are. they're not exactly peak cinema, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I know
What?
people that like them, and
Speaking-
it's like
yeah.
the new Freddy, Michael Myers. Like they think he might
Right.
track the
Right.
whatever the hell Art the Clown theory. Is what
Yeah.
it is?
Yes, Art the Clown, and they're now. I don't know why when you said that, MauLer, I thought of Yogurt from Spaceballs, but it reminded me that they're doing a Spaceballs 2.
Yeah,
I
with
don't know how
Josh
that's gonna
Gad,
go.
right? He's
Yeah.
Good God.
Is this because I think it was Angry Video Game Nerd of all people, like he coined the term like legacy sequel, where it's like you suddenly decide you're going to do a sequel to a thing from like 20, 30, 40 years ago. Like, so it's now it's like you're almost into the realms of remakes and like nostalgia baiting, but it is a direct sequel. And I think it is a unique concept that's just come about in recent years. Like we've seen it with Ghostbusters and so on. And I wonder, yeah, we're going to see more stuff like that.
I did
don't
see a
know.
Gremlins sequel supposed to be
God.
happening. I guess that would count as a legacy sequel.
And Goonies.
Fucking Goonies. Do you think that was because
Oh,
of Skeleton
they're
Crew? They're like,
doing a
oh,
Goonies?
Skeleton Crew. You guys
Oh,
want Goonies?
shit, dude.
Let's give
Okay.
them Goonies.
Are they doing that? Are we having a Goonies too?
Crazy.
And they're all grown up now?
Or
Or is
reboot, I
like Goonies the
can't
next
tell.
generation?
Yeah. And you guys again.
Yeah, I want to see Sloth.
No, he's like perfectly intellectual now at this point. He has no speech impediment
Yeah,
whatsoever.
no ableism.
Hey, you
Sloth
guys, what's going on?
Hello, gentlemen.
Oh,
Sloth
speaking of
would-
that sequel,
Sloth
American
would definitely
Psycho.
have been banged up for all
Yeah,
kinds
why
of
are they
offenses.
bringing back American Psycho?
American Psycho, dude.
No. Isn't it Austin Butler? Is that who's playing him?
Let's see Paul Allen's.
Right, it's a reboot, right? Because Mila Kunis was in the American Psycho sequel for
Right.
some reason
Oh
back
yeah,
in the
there
day.
was an actual sequel back.
Yeah.
Would've won
Oh,
that
Speaking
one.
of direct to DVD, yes.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Like,
Yeah, well, you're not missing
is that
anything, dude.
a movie that's crying out for a remake?
When are
Dude,
they
I-
ever?
It's
I
a
like
Paul-
Austin
When are
Butler.
they ever?
Wait, is it a remake or sequel?
I believe it's Austin Butler playing Patrick Bateman, and it's a remake.
I
isn't
think
it?
it's
But in
still
yeah, it's a
modern
Patrick
times.
remake.
Bateman, yeah. The modern day society can't handle American Psycho. Like, I don't understand why that's
What's
even
the equivalent of the business card scene in today? We're going to showing our cell phones or
Fucking
a
something.
nice
iPhone,
iPhone
yeah.
case or
It's gonna be
something.
Yeah.
iPhones, yeah.
yeah.
Son of a bitch has a teak handle on his phone.
They're LinkedIn or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what? And Snarky Jay, you say that, you know, that today, like, I feel like audiences have totally changed. They are, but I think it's also really segregated a whole bunch of us that really want good shit. And you see it with independent creators like you and I and Eric from Rippaverse and how successful he is, and Critical Drinker and how we're actually creating like our own type of shit where it's not Hollywood and it's not so corporate. And I think that is going to be the new meta. People really want that.
I think there's definitely like people have an appetite for things that aren't, you know, the cookie cutter Hollywood thing. But the problem with like specifically something like American Psycho is that I read the book not that long ago and even I was kind of like, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to get canceled just for laying eyes on this. Like, how do you remake American Psycho in modern society without fucking it up? Like, that's just, you can't. So, you know, the more stuff, like, we need independent people like you guys that are gonna do, you know, content outside of what Hollywood is doing. But when Hollywood keeps going with these legacy sequels and remakes and stuff like that, they essentially just shit on any groundwork that was laid by the previous generation.
The problem is as well, like, okay, we can make things, but like we're not going to move the needle because we don't have the resources, we don't have the pull, we don't have the influence to do something like that. Not unless it was some, I don't know, like
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, like, say you or I or any of us here, like, we decided we're going to make a TV series or a movie or something like that. Like, we're never going to get to the level of like a major Hollywood, you know, A-list film that's going to get like thousands of movie theaters and like garner all kinds of headlines and stuff. Like, it's not going to be enough to move the needle and break their cultural dominance. Like, yeah, maybe collectively over time it'll have an influence, but
I think it would.
man, it's like you're still hamstrung by lack of resources. Like, that's the thing that they have that we don't.
But realistically, I mean, I don't know, I'm just, you know, playing a devil's advocate here. Couldn't we see people like shifting in the opposite direction? Because at the end of the day, like, attention spans are at an all-time low. I don't know one person near my age that willingly goes through a movie theater and sits still for 2.5 to 3 hours watching anything.
Yeah,
And
it's
so I
expensive.
think what we're seeing is like Hollywood is being essentially getting its ass kicked by streaming services, and even streaming services aren't satisfying a lot of people because people want to look elsewhere. You know, YouTube is like the biggest social networking thing. It's a search engine. Like, there's so many ways to consume content that isn't coming from Hollywood that I think if we all just bang our heads against the wall enough, eventually people will come this way and sort of leave Hollywood by the wayside. I mean, we're already seeing
Yeah.
people shift in the other direction, right? People are getting
We are the
tired of what
media.
Hollywood is serving.
Totally
So
agree.
I think, yeah, certainly in terms of media critique and like our breakdowns of movies, reviews, that sort of thing. I think people come to people like us way more than they do with the legacy media. And I made a video about this recently where it's like you've got these dinosaur sites that used to cover video games like Polygon or Kotaku or IGN with millions of followers that get 10,000 views per video, like nothing. Like, they're dead.
They're all
essentially.
making YouTube channels now. You see like, Fallout creator, he's on YouTube.
If I may,
But
and then
they'll come to people like Asmongold and stuff for their video game content, and like they are the media. But like, that's media. That's one thing. But like the actual production of new content, like whether it's games, whether it's movies, that sort of thing, that takes a level of resources that most of us can't muster at this point. That's the difficult leap to make.
But then the inverse can be said too, where we have small channels that have, millions and millions of views on every video, and they have like just maybe, I don't know, 10,000 subs. I think it's really all about the quality of the content and, the point of view that the person has if they're reviewing something, or the quality of whatever they're making, whether that be a cartoon or, I mean, look at the freaking stick figure fights, Xiao Xiao or whatever it was called, XIAO, like super simple shit. But people like quality and they like something different and they like something cool. So I think it's really a testament as to the product versus the subscriber count or whatever. Like screw Kotaku and all those other guys.
I referenced this a few times over the past year or two. It was Robert Meyer Burnett who said that authenticity is the currency of the 2020s or the modern era. And he's 100% right. Like when it comes to just like the takes of people on media and breakdowns, reviews, all that sort of thing, people are much more likely to gravitate to an independent creator who's just a person who's super passionate about the source material, doesn't have like a big production setup behind them, doesn't have all the slick fancy editing and stuff, but they are knowledgeable about the subject matter and they talk about it because they care about it. They'll go towards that rather than any kind of corporate bullshit that's just bought and paid for, and it's just someone who clearly would rather be doing something else, but like that's their job. So that is definitely one thing that like we are taking over at least the media sphere, the media.
You go on Piers Morgan. You've got game developers are scared of you and whispering your name in hushed tones. Like when we say we are the media, I don't mean like every person in the world knows us, but if you're going online and you're looking for independent thoughts from that legacy, you will find our corner of the internet, either the Fellowship or the 199 or Drink. It just happens. Chris Gore, Film Threat, and as long as we keep going, keep not being, as long as we're ourselves and authentic, it'll keep going.
Well, and that's the thing, is that we can't be bought. And in a world today where everyone is a shill, everyone's bought to say something or endorse something or some bullshit. The authenticity is lost, and people feel that, So I think with guys like us, girls like us, it's nice, it's refreshing, I'm
a Zimzair. How dare you?
Go fuck yourself.
It's also good that we don't know how to shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah.
You say Snarky Jay in a mirror 3 times, I appear behind you and just scream and then disappear. Like, I probably scream about Boba Fett or The Crow or something. Like, we're hell bent on this bullshit. They really just have no way to silence us. And it's kind of one of those things where, like, I always tell people, when they're like, why don't you just let people enjoy things? Like, I'm letting you enjoy it. If you feel influenced by my opinion when I say this was shit, then you probably didn't like it that much in the first place.
We like Skeleton Crew. We're nuanced and fair, but we try. I'm saying like at least some of them will try, but we're not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like if someone were to come to me and say like, "Hey, fuck your dog," I'd be like, "What? I love my dog. What are you talking about?" When no, not literally, you weirdo. Weird, man.
It's like,
I'm not
what position would you...
No, I mean like screw, like go to hell. You're fuck.
That's totally done.
Weirdo,
Maybe
man.
just like let's redefine that as like your dog sucks. It's the worst dog ever.
Well, you know what I mean. Jesus. Yeah. Anyways, I'm not gonna hate my dog all of a sudden. So it's like all these. All right, this is over.
Yeah. I know what you meant, buddy.
All right.
It can't make us
Snarky
hate
Jay.
something that we love, even if
Snarky Jay bestiality taking it sexual. All right.
Hello?
And our streams demonetized. Yes.
Hey, well,
so quickly.
I'm never getting invited back on Open Bar again.
It was Theory who started talking about fucking his dog, man.
Wow, T.
Why am I getting blamed for this?
You fucking
All
weirdos,
right,
man.
get it back away. I was just gonna say, like, maybe I want to tune it down a little on the self-aggrandizing aspect. Like, we may hope to have as much integrity that we all would prefer in terms of the selloutiness, but some of the biggest and most famous YouTubers have easily sold out once the numbers get high enough. It is an inevitability. I think most people would have a number no matter what, because, you know, eventually the arguments come in of like, man, think of the good I could do with that money. If one was to sell out and promote all of Disney's products, but in exchange you get like, I don't know, 100 billion, would you consider doing it? Holy shit.
Well,
Imagine what you could do with 100 billion.
Here's the thing, right? It's a long-term investment in terms of just being authentic. If nothing else than that, because like you can, if you get to that level where companies are willing to like pay you to show for them, you're probably making so much money from just telling the truth that like, what's your incentive to not do that?
I was just going to say that I think that the really important aspect of our sort of contribution to the current industry is the fact that we match a lot of how the audience feels. Even if at times you can have people who grift on that. They could be like, that's how they're feeling right now. I'll claim I feel the same way. Yes, I love the Batman. He's a very good character, and I can't believe what they've done with him. And you're just like, who even are you? Like, what is you? But at the same time, yeah, for now, it's just like a matter of sharing your perspective, and a lot of people resonate with it. And the authenticity is super important. It's just, you know, Hollywood, if they could commodify and can authenticity, they would. You know, they're desperately trying to figure out how to do that as well.
They can. It's so easy. You know how easy it is for Dave Filoni or Kathleen Kennedy to just make a simple 20-second video being like, hey, we know that we've done some stuff that's been, you know, dividing the fandom a little bit, and we're aware of it, and we just want to do our best to bring the fandom back together and make stuff that you all like. Done.
Well, I mean, that'd be awesome for them to do that, but like they have to then follow that up with actual good products.
But even just saying that, acknowledging that, I think it would soften a lot of people up and be like, all right, fuck you, but you know, let's see, at least you're kind of doing something now. You kind of acknowledge
The
it.
thing is that they hate us, though. That's the problem, because they could easily do that, right? And be like, look, okay, the Acolyte, we totally fucked up. I'm so sorry. But it's so much easier for them to just fly out 10 YouTubers that are going to shill for them and then start attacking you guys on the internet. Like, it's that much easier for them to just go in the other direction.
They hated us and our money so much, they willfully thought they could replace us and all of our money with an entire new generation and their money, and they couldn't, and now they have no one's money. But yeah, they hated us so much they didn't even want our money.
What I've noticed is they're trying to make the YouTubers that they control and the influencers they control to have more clout, more authority by giving them, you know, better press, giving them, you know, flying them out to red carpet premieres, giving them the directors and writers and whatever to interview, this, that, and the other thing, and it still doesn't fucking work. You know, what is that telling you?
Well, it's all feeding it's feeding material into this defective machine that no longer works. Like, as we just said, like, you know, the legacy media has no clout anymore. Like, actual fans don't pay any attention to it. So it doesn't matter how much you praise certain YouTubers or certain content creators to try and elevate them with that mechanism. It's not going to be effective because no one listens to it in the first place.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's a complete losing game. Like, I'm sure they keep trying it, but like that playbook does not work anymore.
No.
You know, it's kind of like calling someone racist or sexist in 2025. Like, no one gives a fuck anymore. Like,
yeah, they really
said that for like the past 10 years.
Yeah, they go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that after I talked about the Acolyte and I mentioned that some of the performances weren't good, I found posts on Twitter about myself and a video that I did on Ray as well, saying that I was female in name only because I had an opinion about a woman. And I'm like, aren't we in 2025? Are you not supposed to be questioning my gender? Like, I'm pretty sure that's kind of against your own code, right?
No, like, you don't understand, Snarky. Like, you have to, as a woman, you have to support every female character ever.
You're right.
Like,
we're all one big vajayjay hive mind. I've never hated another woman in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I've been told that you are essentially the Borg, and you just all share each other's thoughts and stuff. So, like, it makes sense.
I think I just forgot my estrogen pills that morning. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe
it happens.
Yeah. Oh well, move to Canada, you'll get all the. Careful what I say
here. They'll just be like, "Have you considered dying?"
I've had to be very careful for the last 9 years about what I say, especially when it comes to topics about gay or transgender or anything like that. I had to like dance around so much shit and say shit that's just like very political, just so I don't get fucking thrown in jail or something like that. It's been a nightmare, man. It's been horrible.
What's going to happen now that old Trudeau is left?
Well,
you know,
they're probably
no,
gonna until the new election. They're probably gonna fill it in with another one of the liberals in his cabinet because they're all literally fighting over each other now to get into power. And then we're gonna get the election, and most likely Poilievre's gonna win, which I think will be great.
Oh, well, good stuff. Anyway,
We'll see.
I guess on the subject of good news, we got the first trailer for Daredevil Born Again. And I think we're all kind of in agreement on this one. This looks surprisingly good.
That's what scares me.
I don't trust them,
Gary.
Drake.
Yeah,
I know, because I always go on like the old maxim of like the Suicide Squad trailer for like the David Ayer movie looked fucking incredible. Like it looked really fun, and then we got the film, and gosh, that was a disaster. But
Vincent
I don't
D'Onofrio.
know. Yeah, I mean everyone's back. I don't know how much of it I can play, but like maybe if I might have to mute it, like because they're really funny when it comes to like soundtracks and stuff. But like I can at least show you some bits from it.
The only reason I'm excited is this is the first big course correction we heard about. As Vincent says, they creatively reset, meaning they fired the fucking entire creative team and like got rid of a bunch of episodes, hired back the original actors. That is a significant course correction.
Is that
because they were halfway done.
I mean, we've technically speaking, you could make that claim about fucking Captain Falcon movie.
Well, yeah, but like,
sure.
And I think that thing can obviously go one of two ways. It can be just like constant like chopping and changing because you can't figure out what the hell you're supposed to be doing. You just know that you're wrong initially, or it can be we've been doing the wrong thing. Clearly, we need to change course. We understand what we should be doing. Let's get on that correct course. It can be done, I suppose. It remains to be seen if that's what they'll follow through on, but it's potentially going to work. It could. I'll mute it here just so I can show a little bit, but yeah, we've got. I do quite like seeing Vincent D'Onofrio back again. He's does look great. He does look considerably older now, I will say that much. And he's clearly lost quite a bit of weight.
Well, we all remember Echo, right? Where he got cleansed of his evil by Echo's matriarchal Indian powers. Right. And so now he's ready to be the mayor.
Is that even going to be canonical with this? Are they even going to acknowledge that? I hope not.
Maybe it's one of those things.
I thought they were just pretending Echo didn't exist.
I think
I do.
I honestly, until you mentioned it there, I'd kind of forgotten that it was even a thing.
Well, yeah, nobody remembers.
Want to talk about it?
But it is notable for She-Hulk and Echo to have like stained them. Well, these two got stained by them, you know.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on Daredevil and She-Hulk. Oh my god.
So this is taking place after.
I honestly feel like Charlie Cox had to go through some kind of humiliation ritual to get back into the MCU.
Is that still canon? He's boyfriend and girlfriend with Jennifer Walters at the end of that, right? With the She-Hulk.
He is. Yeah, he went to meet her family.
Yeah, see? We're so screwed.
Yeah, because she forced him by controlling the levels of the universe to be her boyfriend.
That's not inappropriate at all, MauLer.
No, if the roles were switched, I think the internet would have been really fucking mad.
Just fine.
Well, it's kind of like when Wonder Woman brought her dead boyfriend back to life to possess the body of an existing guy and then just effectively raped him. But
there was no consent.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again.
Said Marvel to Daredevil fans.
Yeah, and our money.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, I do kind of wonder where they're going with this one.
Charlie Cox and Vincent or D'Onofrio are the only reason I would even be slightly hopeful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got everyone back. They've got the Punisher back. They've got Foggy. They've got what's the girlfriend called again? Karen. Yeah, but not the evil kind of Karen, like an actual good Karen. Yeah, they're all back, and I don't know. Maybe
listen, okay. Everyone needs to be on high vigilance. Skinwalker goggles on. You need to tell the difference between me.
Look at them there, though. Look at them walking around doing stuff.
You need to tell the difference between them dangling shit in front. Is this Flicker Invader we're seeing right now, or is it?
He Murdocked.
He deviled. He deviled.
Yeah.
I'm more than ready for some good
gotta
shit.
get
Okay,
caught
I
up,
just
man.
don't
I don't know.
fucking trust them.
No idea what you guys are talking about.
This is such an obvious move to make, considering their current state. Like, fucking
MauLer, I'm glad you're holding the line, dude, because when Chris and Drinker and Gary, everyone's saying this could be great, or like they think they're excited, I'm glad you're the voice of reason because I'm scared.
Well, I don't
Sure,
blame
I
them.
mean-
Daredevil seasons 1, 2, and 3 to a lesser extent, were fucking excellent content, as agreed by many people. Some of the best the MCU offered in totality. But this ain't the same. Whatever it is, it's not going to be the same. I get hoping for the best. I do. I just
Look at the
I mean,
poster for Rogers the Musical. That was from Hawkeye and the TV show.
The thing that I do like as well, this is clearly going to be like a much more gritty, violent show than we've seen before. Like, I don't know, Echo kind of played with that idea, but like this seems to actually make good on the promise. I'm trying to get to the point where like you start to see him do some fighting.
Hating the power it has over us.
Yeah, there's a bit where he just like snaps a guy's arm, and you can see like the bone.
It's like bleeding through the shirt. Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get to it.
Can't go unchecked. They got Bullseye back.
You know what's going to be interesting as well, because they've got that kind of organ music playing like you would get in a church. And I do wonder how much they're going to go into his Catholic faith in this one, because I feel like, that's a big no for modern Disney. Like, a guy who's openly religious. Like, we
it's
can't
so
have
hard
that.
to do Daredevil without Catholicism, though.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Are you even a Catholic if you're not self-flagellating and devil horns once a week? Like,
exactly.
What else would I
makes
do
it
with my
fun.
Wednesdays?
Yeah, it's all part of the fun of it. But yeah, I feel like if you lose that aspect of his character, you've lost essentially what makes Daredevil who he is.
Yeah.
Pretty
and
much,
John
yeah.
Barenthal said he wouldn't come back unless his character was treated with respect. And he's back.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting a paycheck too.
Yes.
I don't think he needs to sell out at this point. There he is. Look at him there.
I love him. Oh my god. I think I literally squealed at that part in the trailer in my reaction. I felt terrible about it because I don't want to be a girl about this, but Jesus Christ, give this show to me right now or I'm gonna fucking die.
I mean, I did love Bernthal's take on the Punisher. I think no one can roar quite like that man with just absolute rage.
Did everyone check out the 2 seasons of his show?
Yes.
Negative.
Yeah.
Well,
The cop
season
one?
2 I didn't like as much, but season 1, holy fuck,
Season
that was
1 was
good.
brilliant.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I thought he was
the
amazing
Punisher
in
one.
Daredevil season 2. It was fucking great.
Mind putting the hatchet down?
Nope.
I was raised to believe in grace.
I mean, that right there just makes me think.
Kinda dark.
Okay. I can get behind this.
I was also raised to believe in retribution.
That's so good.
Yeah. So a snap in there.
Yeah. So yeah, Theory, I know you're kind of like working in the dark on this one, but like, what would
No
it
pun
mean,
intended.
like, almost 10 years ago, like Netflix were producing TV shows based around the Marvel universe, and it was kind of in its own pocket universe. It make occasional references to the events of the movies, but it was very much like set within its own continuity, just doing its own thing. And so you had Daredevil, you had Jessica Jones, you had Luke Cage, you had Iron Fist, and they all kind of crossed over with each other, and it was a great little TV based cinematic universe. And most of these shows were actually pretty good, but the best of the bunch was without a doubt Daredevil. And it was very dark, very violent, very gritty, and it pulled no punches. And it was kind of a sad thing when they all got cancelled, and they all got wrapped up and folded into the MCU. And we've been waiting ever since then to see if they were going to make good on this, if they were going to find a way to bring this character back in a way that was respectful. And
then
so
She-Hulk
far,
happened.
yeah, and so far they haven't. They've made Daredevil their bitch, and he was in She-Hulk, got kind of humiliated in that. He briefly appeared in Echo, but that was more about destroying the Kingpin.
Well, he
as
had
a
that first scene
character.
in Spider-Man where he
Yeah,
was
he
treated
cut a
with
brick in
respect, where he cuts the
Spider-Man.
brick. I'm a
That
real
was
good Spider.
sexy.
I'm a good lawyer or whatever. I'm a real good lawyer, which he's going to say that joke a lot. But yeah, no, he had to pay that tax on She-Hulk. Walk of
Oh,
shame.
She-Hulk
And
was
now-
such shit.
Yeah, and it all kind of comes down to this, whether or not this is going to be. Oh, I keep missing that because it's such a quick bit. But anyway,
well, hopefully it's successful, man. Hopefully it does well.
yeah, they need this. They really need this in terms of their
We all need
MCU
this.
TV shows.
You know,
Yeah.
I saw Daredevil the movie when it with Affleck.
Ben
and,
Affleck? Oh my
Garner.
god.
Yeah, when I was a kid.
Michael Clark Duncan.
But beyond that, I never really followed Daredevil much.
I would honestly say it's worth your time to go back and watch the Netflix show.
The show?
Oh yeah,
season, I'm sure.
definitely.
Yeah.
Probably what was the one with like the kind of crazy space ninja things? Was that season 3?
You talking about the Hand?
Yes.
They was.
Yeah,
I want to say there was season 2. Yeah.
2 with Punisher. The third one
season,
is
season 2 was a
Bullseye.
little bit weaker in that regard, but like season 1 was
One
amazing.
was
and-
amazing though. Well, two
The-
was when the Punisher came in, isn't
The
it?
Yeah,
Punisher and
the
Daredevil
third one.
Yeah.
2 is easily counterbalancing the Hand for sure. Like
Yeah.
the good
So
content.
it's got some good and bad stuff, but like the Punisher is pretty fucking awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Jessica
the way
Jones
they,
season 1 was good. I would ignore the other 2. Luke Cage season 1 was good. But yeah, I don't know why.
I would
Luke
argue
Cage
Daredevil
was-
is probably the only one you really, really need.
I saw some of Luke
Yeah.
Cage
Yeah.
when it came out. What was his power again? He's just strong.
Who?
Luke
he's a
Cage.
martial artist.
Yeah,
like, so
invulnerable.
he can't. Yeah, he
Luke
can't
Cage.
see, but like, oh, Luke Cage. Yeah, his skin is
He's black.
impenetrable.
That's a
Yeah.
superpower.
No, it's not a superpower. No, he's just he's invulnerable.
Yeah,
he's
so
invulnerable.
What's
it
his
works.
power?
It works.
He's black.
Yeah.
Black man magic.
All right.
Luke Cage's power works in a weird way, where it's like if you shot him in the head, like the bullet wouldn't penetrate him, but like it would knock him out.
Crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, he's strong. But he's a street level, like a city hero. He doesn't wear a costume. Like everyone knows who he is,
Yeah.
and they're happy to have him there. And then he teams up with Iron Fist. That was maybe miscast, but
Iron Fist.
he's Mike Coulter is a really good Luke Cage. Like if you want to
Yeah.
show that's not like I've made a joke, but like it is not any sort of like black power or anything like that. He's just a really good man, a good superhero.
So what's his power? His skin is impenetrable.
He's strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, impenetrable skin.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Can't get
Yeah.
cut. Can't get shot.
the thing I never watched was the team up movie where you had like
Defenders?
all of them,
Defenders, yeah.
the Defenders. Yeah,
You didn't watch that with Sigourney Weaver as the oh so threatening villain?
Nah.
I think I
because
people
skipped
do avoid
Defenders too.
it looked really goofy, and yeah, some of them don't play off each other that well. Like I like Jessica Jones in season 1, but I feel like when she has to interact with other heroes, she's not great.
Kristen.
Yeah,
Ritter.
I'd agree with that.
I love your
Well.
chat, man. They're so funny.
Chat's the best.
It's yeah.
Yeah. But that is the potential for Daredevil Born Again. I don't like when. I'm not sure if it says when it's coming out. Actually,
March 4th.
March 4th. Okay.
How about
Is it?
screaming?
I'm pretty sure it's March 4th.
A lot of eyes are going to be on that one.
Yeah, there we go.
That's now
Okay,
written on
so-
my refrigerator calendar. I need this. I don't
Snarky, do you know who
when I'm gonna do that.
Muse is? Is that a Daredevil villain? Muse?
Oh, honey, I don't know. You could
I
fill
was
a book
like-
with Daredevil villains. I don't know.
Yeah, because then it must be a new one. Then they're adding because that's the dude with like the paint on his face in this.
I
Trailer.
know White Tiger. I know
Yeah,
that one. We're
White Tiger's
getting
in
a
it.
little representation there, but I don't.
Is Bullseye still a thing?
Yeah, he's
He
in the
is.
trailer.
That's
He's in
him
the
in
trailer.
jail, isn't it?
Ah, right. Yeah. Okay.
I think we're gonna
That's
have a
pretty good.
Bullseye breaking out and framing Punisher for the death of the first White Tiger, and then his sister takes over, which will probably trigger everyone. I'm something going on there.
Right. Okay.
Looks interesting.
like-
They don't mess it up.
If they could say adopt the same tone that they had with the Penguin, right? For this,
Hmm.
I will be a happy man. And maybe they can do it because yeah, they need to with characters like this, they need to go darker and more violent and more gritty. And like I know that's like so against the MCU brand, but like maybe they can have this whole subset of heroes who are much more street level and who are much more violent, and these shows are much more intended for adults. Do it. You know, like you can make it work.
Well, that's why season 1, like that's why Daredevil was so good on Netflix, because they didn't have to appeal to kids. They very much made an adult show. I was watching it in 9th grade under my desk in school, like knowing very much like this guy is a problem and I'm in love with him. Like it was just such a good show. Like it was so violent, it was so gritty, and I think that characters like Daredevil are so much more interesting. You know, it's almost like when you write Batman, instead of letting him be in the Justice League, which to me is always a waste of time, and you let him be a street level guy, when you let guys like Daredevil tussle in the street in the blood and dirt and really get into the nitty gritty of it, you end up with something so much better than just like, yeah, he's blind, he wears horns, and he runs around in the dark. Like that's what they should get back to.
Yeah, because I don't want to see Daredevil teaming up with Spider-Man and Captain Marvel or some.
I don't need
like
him giving one-liners. He can catch bricks and say, "I'm a really good lawyer," but I don't need any of that shit. And if I see him touch She-Hulk one more time, I will light myself on fire, and I'll do it live. I'll do it.
I'll bring in the ratings.
Live stream immolation.
You're all about the lighting on fire today, eh?
It's so 2025.
I feel like I usually go with some sort of arson.
Pyromania.
It's just an excuse to burn things. It's fine. I'm willing to bet they're never going to reference She-Hulk again. Like she is done as a character.
You think she's going to show up in Secret Wars or Doomsday?
No.
Or maybe
I think she's the equivalent of the Acolyte. She is like the MCU's Acolyte.
I was going to ask you which one got lower ratings.
I don't know, because I don't know if they released the ratings for She-Hulk.
I don't think they did. I could probably look. Though.
I mean, people were definitely talking about it.
Could you imagine
if they were talking about the Acolyte?
If they did like a Meg the Stallion thing with She-Hulk, that like if they did that in the Acolyte,
the power of many people twerking at
dude,
once.
Could you imagine they just start like busting it down?
They might as well have in the Acolyte.
I don't think
like it was that lacking in dignity
that
they sure.
That would have been a meme, dude, forever.
We can hope.
Okay? Yeah. Carrie Ann Moss, a Jedi, just starts. No.
I think they got 390 million watch minutes for She-Hulk Attorney at Law.
That is not far off.
I think the Acolyte got what 480 or something
for 2 episodes. Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Skeleton Crew got 380. So that's not far behind.
Theory, now I'm picturing them watching them twerk and someone saying, is it possible to learn this power? Not from a Jedi.
Not from a male.
Yeah.
Power of many.
It writes itself.
It does.
You could probably twerk to that Power of One, Power of Many song if you tried hard enough.
I was just waiting for that Jedi Master to be like, what is this? Some kind of Squid Game? Like, it's just, sure, might as well just reference everything. Let's go for it.
Yeah, why not? That's literally like Leslie Headland was she said she was watching the Squid Game. You know she's just watching it, like binging it with her wife. And then she's like, we have to get him. How cool would it be if we got him? Oh my God, stop.
That's probably exactly what that conversation sounded like.
What is their obsession with sex? Like, why is that like the cornerstone of everything that the Acolyte is? Like, I can't define it any better than that. It's like it's just dripping in sex.
Because they're all
like, what does it add to it?
I find with that kind of stuff, like if you're gay or whatever, it becomes your entire personality, and it's like you're no longer judged on if you're a nice person or not. It's like I'm gay. It's, well, that's nice. But do you have any other qualities? Like
pretty sterile too, in terms of like a representation of any given relationships. It's always really like clunky and strange. They can never crack like the passion of a Han and Leia in Star Wars ever again for some reason.
Well, I tell you what it does though. It sacrifices the character's integrity in service of what a cheap romantic subplot, where it's like, yeah, okay, I've watched you, and the same thing fucking happened in the sequel trilogy as well, actually, where it's like. Okay, I've seen you murder people that I care about, and you're a horrible, evil person. But man, I just want to bone you so fucking hard. And that's it. It's like, okay, well, I'll just abandon everything just to get with you. And it's like same with Rey and Kylo Ren, and like, watching Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver having to like make out like that,
So
it was
awkward.
the most like awkward sterile kiss. It was like if you just shove two people together that have never met each other.
Where's the
though Finn
intimacy
and Rey
coordinator?
clearly supposed to be the original.
Where's the chemistry?
matching.
Where's the build up to it? Like nothing.
Because I think also, and this is probably a hot take, but I also feel like societally, nobody wants to do the build up to anything anymore, right? Because at the end of the day, I mean, the way men and women get along, if I'm allowed to say that, is typically like there's a game, right? There's a little bit of a chase, there's a little bit of intrigue, and now it's like nobody's allowed to hit on anybody because I'm blowing the whistle, you're atrocious, you know, and there's like this weird dynamic going on where you don't get a Han and Leia where she's, you know, pushing him away, but not like in a real way where it's creepy. You know, there's this game between them that builds the tension. Like when he's like kissing on her hand or whatever. I was like 12 when I watched it, and I was sitting there like, oh shit. Okay. I see that. I see it. And we don't get that anymore. Now we get like the two most awkward people on the planet, you know, eventually kissing, and you're like, I'm sorry, where was the buildup for this? Because this is not a payoff for shit.
You know what's weird is with the Acolytes, like dude literally like tormented her sister and then kidnaps Osha and takes her to some private island.
Took the cock out.
We know how that usually goes in real life.
You know, she worked for Harvey Weinstein, right? So she obviously was inspired by something.
She knows all about private islands.
I was fine with the Sith trying to seduce her in every way that could mean. That's fine. That's a solid tactic. But with her, with you, it's just I didn't buy it from that character with that character. The tactic of a Sith doing that, sure, but not there.
And then the naked scenes and stuff, and like
what is that about? She checked his ween.
Scars?
Like she literally, her eyes like darted down. She did a wiener check. I'm sorry, who's supposed to be watching this?
This is like Star Wars if it was written by like a 13-year-old Tumblr user. That's what
and
it
I would
feels
know
like.
because I was a 13-year-old Tumblr user. I read and wrote a lot of fan fiction that was all terrible and has
but then like
from the internet.
But then you weren't put in charge of like a $250 million TV show.
I wish I had.
Yeah,
the self inserts would have been amazing. You guys would have hated it.
This is what I mean, though. It's like Leslie Headland is like 40 years old. Like she's a grown-ass woman. She should be beyond that in terms of like her sensibilities as a creative.
She's like the Taylor Swift of writing Star Wars, where like she's still writing like she's a 13-year-old girl, and people are buying into this shit. Except with Leslie Headland,
13-year-old girls don't even they like still write about story. Everything with her is about sex. Like look at that interview. It's like I think R2D2's gay or whatever she said. It's like
it's a lesbian.
Like
R2D2 is a lesbian.
Like, why?
Yeah, where it kind of ties into what you said earlier, Theory, where it's like I'm gay and that's literally my entire personality.
That's
like,
my
the core
identity.
of everything I do.
The problem is when she does anything other than her sexuality, she messes up the lore, like trying to make virginses make real, like she completely misunderstood the whole Plagueis thing.
I don't think she did. I think she did it on purpose because she said in an interview
or
whatever that did you not hear this? That she wanted to make those two kids the first virgins. So that when the time came for the council to dismiss Anakin, it's because they had intel on Osha and May. Man, when I heard that, I'm like, go fuck yourself.
I hate it.
You are insane. How dare you do some stupid ass shit like
this
that?
timeline.
It's bullshit, man.
And like, it goes both ways too. Because if someone said in an interview about their new character, they're straight. You're like, yeah.
Okay,
you never say that, but
it's like they're straight. Praise me.
It was so fucking weird. Everyone would point it out. It's like, do you want to talk about their character at all?
Yeah, like
well, he's also white.
Excuse me.
Oh,
yeah, he's straight and white. There you go.
Yeah.
Imagine that, dude. George Lucas back in '77 well, I wanted to create a story about a straight white male who was, I
feel like now we're at this point where I could get in front of a crowd of Star Wars fans and go like, Star Wars is like very matriarchal, and this is like a strong male character in a male-led world. Yes.
Right. Charge of Star Wars.
Yeah. That's the point we've gotten to, man. It's
sad. I mean, didn't they have the whole "cause nerds are gay" bit, and like she really thought she did something? I'm like,
she doesn't even know what a nerd
are you
is.
talking about?
Yeah, I'm also blaming Mark from Variety, the guy that talks like this. That did wasn't it the gayest project ever? And they don't.
Didn't he ask about Agatha too? Isn't he the one that brought the gay explosion
Yes.
thing upon us? I'm
He
still
needs
trying
to
to
be
wipe down the
stopped.
room after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to ask actually, did any of you guys ever like watch the end of Agatha? Because I checked out
Yes.
after like
I
4
watched all of it.
episodes.
No.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Like what?
I actually
I
really
don't even know
liked
how to
one part
phrase
of it.
this. Like,
I'm still
it's
alive,
worth
so-
anyone's time ever.
No, there was a solid story, MauLer. I don't know if you agree with me. There was a solid story bit about Agatha having a child and whether the thing she was doing of sacrificing witches so to stave off the death of her son, and she's also in love with death. And then when son finally says, "I'm tired of killing witches, mommy," and she gives him one night of peace, that's when death takes her. Like there was some story, but then it
you
just
could
got
spin it into something
horribly.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but just most of it is no.
No.
I feel like that's a show that it died while it was still on the air. Like people like
It died
tuned in
before
for the first
that.
couple of they kind of tuned in for the first couple of episodes just to meme on it, thinking like, oh, it's going to be another acolyte, and then it was just like not even interesting enough to make fun of, and then just everyone just stopped.
I gave up after 3 episodes, and that was really hard to do because I love Aubrey Plaza and everybody says I look like her. So I thought, oh my God, this will be my time. Like I can jump on this and I can cosplay this and maybe I can ascend somewhere and be halfway relevant. And it was such dog shit that I was like, I'm not even finishing this garbage. This is offensive. That's how fucking bad it was. Like it was like witches in Marvel for wine moms, and I'm none of those things. So I was like, all right, fuck off.
Yeah, there was a whole last episode where they had to make and drink wine. It was great.
Yeah, that was where I quit.
I approved of that episode, but
It was for wine moms. I talked to a couple of wine moms. I was like, we love Agatha. I was like, did you like She-Hulk too? Yeah. I was like, tracks.
If you tell me you like She-Hulk, that's like my immediately red flag to be like, I'm done with this conversation. Thank you.
I haven't.
You can
met
add nothing to
someone
my life.
that likes the Acolyte. I don't think.
I think you're gonna have to look far and wide to find someone who genuinely liked that show.
There were so many people defending it on Twitter and on Reddit.
But those people, I don't even think they're Star Wars fans. They're just.
I don't even think they're real.
I think
because they're
most
virtue
of them,
signaling.
They like what the Acolyte represents. You know,
Which
they like
is?
the fact that it's like, I don't know, lesbian,
gay,
communist space witches. Yeah,
No,
like
like
that's it. And it's like,
no,
well, okay,
yeah.
and if you criticize it, then you must clearly hate all of those
then
things.
you're racist and you're homophobic.
Yeah.
And so if you like it, then you're none of those things. It is.
Well, to that person who did like Agatha and did like when I asked about Star Wars, they're like, "Oh no, I haven't. I stopped watching." So it's like Marvel still has some people paying attention. Skeleton Crew or Star Wars Skeleton Crew, yeah, people just checked out.
Yeah. Let me ask you
Which is
another question
unfortunate.
as well, right? Because we talked about Star Wars and we talked about the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that's coming out. Hypothetically, there's still meant to be a Rey movie coming out. Do you think,
Oh God.
like, panel wide question, do you think that movie's ever actually going to happen? Because that was 2 years ago that was announced. And
I don't know anymore, man.
Fuck all about it.
I think it will. I think it will, man. They'll never
Not with
back down
Charmaine.
from Rey.
I think, gun to my head, if I had to choose yes or no, I still think I'd go with yes, but I'm less sure of it now than I was, like,
Yes,
rewinding
Queen.
amount of time.
So Stephen Knight left, right? Because he's busy doing Peaky Blinders, and they noted him to the point where he was just going to be rewriting the entire thing. So it's I think Chris was the one who suggested that Charmaine, when she came out on CNN, that was her doing to try and force them to make it. But it looks like it's dead in the water. At least
Well, it
that version
shouldn't
of Rey.
happen. We're all clear
in
on
my
that.
experience, if you announce a movie and then 2 years goes by and you haven't heard anything about it, that movie's fucking dead. Like, that project's dead.
What about the Patty Jenkins movie? It was like on, then it was off, then it's on
She
again.
said she was back on.
Yeah.
I think, the latest on that is she's back on.
I'm so confused.
Really?
And then there was
and
a
then
Lando
Sean Levy,
movie.
he has his movie that's apparently being fast tracked, and it's we don't know if he's
This is
using an
not
older
real,
Rey or
It's a
what
joke.
he's.
It's all such
We've
a
also
joke.
got an Old
Dude.
Republic movie, but the guy just came out saying that he doesn't want to use any established lore whatsoever.
Oh, Mangold, the 25,000. Even though there's Dawn of the Jedi that already exists, that it's exactly 25,000 years ago. Yeah,
Literally.
I tried to like in a video. I tried to list all of the movie projects that are apparently in development at Star Wars, and it like just going through it took me a good minute or so, just
Money laundering.
reeling them off because like none of them ever get cancelled. They just stop talking about them.
Yeah.
I think we are eventually going to see the Rey movie because I don't think they want to back down on it, and I think I
Maybe the
almost
final
feel
big
like
mistake.
yeah, I feel like at least just to prove the rest of us wrong, they're gonna go forward with their I like making men uncomfortable feminist activist director or whatever. Because at the end of the day, I mean, they spent 3 movies hyperfixating on this dislikable piece of white bread that is Rey. Like, she has no character, no personality. I can't remember a single fucking trait about this person other than the fact that Finn spent the whole movie screaming her name. Like, she's irrelevant.
3 movies.
So I
screaming her
definitely,
name.
yeah, 3
Fuck it,
movies.
she's
I think they're gonna
canonically a
double down on
Palpatine.
it, but
Yeah, she's
I don't
Palpatine.
know.
She's Palpatine blood.
She's a
Yeah.
It's not even
Skywalker
being
now. Thank
petty
you very
to
much.
point that out.
Originally supposed to be
She's
a
Palpatine.
Kenobi.
Originally supposed to be every fucking family you could imagine.
Everybody, yeah.
She's a
She's Jar
bad
Jar
also.
Jedi.
It's a good
So
thing they weren't
He's a
handcuffed
big-
to that lore back then that James Mangold doesn't want to be handcuffed to. That stringent lore they've been paying attention to since they took over.
I was gonna say that's a really fucking bad start to announce to the fans of a franchise. I'm gonna target an era that doesn't bother with any lore that you guys know. It's like okay,
when that era is like literally all lore, completely.
Yeah.
Like you don't like you build the characters around the lore, not the other way around.
Well,
well.
It's the wonderful
luck.
world of Star
The more
Wars.
one is which one do you think we'll see first? Between the Sean Levy one, the Dawn of the Jedi one, and then, quite frankly, the Grogu one.
Mando Grogu,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
probably Old Republic Mangold, and then probably the Jon Favreau movie, and then Rey, most likely. I'm thinking Rey's probably going to be 2028,
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
29.
The rate is progressing. Like Mandalorian and Grogu, that's definitely going to come first.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I can
next
buy
year.
that they think that's a safe choice too.
It's next year, in May or
Oh,
something.
God bless their little cotton socks.
I know.
It's the summer, right?
Yeah, May 22
Yeah.
or what was it?
What a gift that'll be. I'll be first in
Oh, you talking about
line.
Celebration?
No, the Mandalorian Grogu
Oh,
movie.
yeah. Well, we got Celebration in a few months too, and they're going to announce probably a shit ton.
What
Oh,
is
been
it to
dry.
celebrate?
On the edge
That's
of
what
my
they usually
seat.
do. Just announce stuff. It's like-
Oh yeah, of course, and then never follow through.
Give
Or
us
leave
some
Daisy
trailers
Ridley
for
alone.
things.
It's gonna be
No.
Kathy on stage again. She'll be like, "You guys, you don't understand how much he really cares about this project," and it's like J.J. Abrams. He's coming out again.
Remember JJ? Good
Oh.
Lord.
He comes out. There's like 3 claps. People don't even remember who he is.
I
He
was
certainly
there, man.
is
It's
a writer
Celebration.
director.
Yeah,
all
Celebration
time.
2019, and they were all on stage. It was her and JJ, and she's like, "You guys, you don't understand how much he really cares about this."
J.J.
I want
Abrams.
them to fast track Ryan Johnson's trilogy. Good Lord, please let that happen. I want to see what Ryan can
Gotta let him
offer the
finish
world of
Knives
Star
Out.
Wars.
The fucking goat coming back to
I
save
don't.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, well, whatever, man. I don't know. At this point, I'm just like, it's so interesting even watching my own, like, just channels progress, being like a super positive, happy fan that like thinks the best of Lucasfilm and like they have a plan for everything. And then you just kind of see it like the light kind of dimming.
Well,
You've come over to
die.
our dark side theory.
RK
like, once your
Outpost
soul
and
got
MauLer,
crushed,
Well,
like,
then
you
chipped
you're
see
fine.
away
that,
at you.
you see that child die is what you witness. It's like no, there's lots of hope. Everything's gonna be great.
Maloney's a deceiver.
Nah,
Sorry, Ross.
Literally the same thing happened with my channel because the first video I did was a review of the first episode of Book of Boba Fett, and I was sitting there dressed as Boba Fett. Like, this is the
Aw.
greatest thing. I have
Yeah.
so much faith. And like by the third one, I'm like, I don't know why they're doing this anymore.
Yeah.
It's like young and optimistic, Snarky Jay.
Literally fell apart. Yeah,
it was so
weird.
impossible to think that they didn't have some sort of a plan. How could you not have a plan? It's Star Wars. We'll get Han, Luke, and Leia together. No.
It's been
It
5
will
years.
genuinely go down, and people in like business schools, film study courses are going to look back on this as one of the biggest acts of creative brand mismanagement in the whole history of cinema.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to the day if it takes fucking 20 years where you get a Kathleen Kennedy type person up enough to be like, that was a fuck up, that whole thing. Holy shit. And like, what do you mean, what? And it's like, Star Wars. we fucked that up completely. 'Cause,
That's
you know,
the apology we'll get.
They
right,
don't
one day.
admit it in the moment, not even maybe a decade later, but eventually they'll be like, I feel free to just say, yeah, we fucked that.
Yeah.
She had pictures on all of us. It was we're held captive.
I mean, yeah, like maybe the criticism won't come until like Kathleen Kennedy has actually passed away from old age.
We
And I
might have
don't
to wait
wish
that
any
long.
I don't wish any harm on her or anything
No,
like that.
none
But
of us
like,
do.
you know, maybe it is going to be like she has some kind of dirt on so many people. Like the knives will only come out when it's safe to attack her. I don't
Dark
know.
side is strong in her. She'll live a good long time.
I
Like Palpatine.
Yeah, I just she must be about 70 now, and you'd think at that age it's like, okay, I'm going to start thinking about
She's a few more hundred
retiring.
years in her.
We do have a
Yeah.
saying in Spanish that says "No hay mal que dure 100 años," which means there's like no evil that lasts 100 years. So we might have to deal with like another 30 years of this, but
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Palpatine came back. He was like 130 or something.
Oh my God.
somehow
Somehow-
Palpatine returned.
Somehow Kennedy returned.
But that's the thing. They just do essence transfer. You just get someone else that steps in who's
We
like,
got to find her
like,
Horcruxes like
a
Voldemort, and one by one
younger,
destroy them.
more powerful.
Oh, good
version.
lord! It's like Get Out. She's going to transfer herself into another body. Like,
She's got another version like growing out of the back of
Leslie
her
Headland
head.
was being groomed to be the next
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy body, and so, oh no,
Could you imagine?
I could. Unfortunately, it's terrifying.
That's a reality we could live in.
Kathleen Kennedy possessed Leslie Headland. Yeah,
well, even the idea that she's her
Oh.
successor. Imagine that. Imagine the
That's
good
what
she
I was
could do
thinking
in the
is-
world of
is-
Star Wars.
Yeah.
power vacuum, right? We think, oh great, Kathy's gone, and then someone way worse takes over.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
I would imagine, like, part of her conditions for eventually leaving will be I get to choose my successor, and it's
Yeah.
not going to be someone who's good.
No.
So,
No.
yeah. Anyway, how about we answer some super chats, because there's a bunch of them that people have sent us. They want they want answers. Damn it! So we
Chat
should
is
provide
king.
them. Blue Collar Loser says people often accuse the drinker or anyone else on open bar of hating everything. The past 24 hours, I've not seen a single negative tweet about the Daredevil trailer. Exactly. We just like spent the past 30 minutes like absolutely.
MauLer is what I've heard, and that's
spurging
not
over it.
negative. He's just cautioning us.
I'm
to
neutral.
Remember.
Why don't we have a space for the neutral people?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as neutral anymore.
No.
Yeah, you have to love or hate something. That's it.
Boo. I'm really neutral though.
You
If
fence.
you're not with me, you're against me.
Chaotic neutral.
Canada Plus says, hail to the whole panel. Kill the Justice League is finally over and they announced the Switch 2. Is gaming getting better or is this just a small victory? I'm not really sure how those two things like marry up with each other, but yeah, gaming is having a reckoning right now and it's long overdue and I'm more than here for it.
It's all thanks to you, drinker.
Sure, yeah. They all fear me, apparently.
Our
scaring 'em.
champion.
I'm not the hero that you deserve, but I am the hero that you need right now. What can I say? Cyber Leader says, thinking of better times for Disney, what villain of theirs do you think had the most satisfying death scene? For me, it's Scar getting eaten alive by the hyenas. That was pretty brutal,
Ooh.
actually, now that I think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
I like
other-
the queen from Sleeping Beauty, the evil, when he kills her as the dragon, Maleficent. The
Yeah.
original
Okay.
cartoon.
Ursula got impaled on a fucking, like,
That was
ship's
pretty cool.
prow. That was
I liked
pretty cool.
Gaston getting thrown off a cliff. That was cool.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Poor Gaston.
Who was the evil
Clay-
guy from Hunchback of Notre Dame? Again.
Oh, was it Frollo? Frollo?
Frollo, yeah.
I think that was it. Yeah, like I kind of hated him. So it
Okay,
was
he
nice
had
to see him
that
get
whole
killed.
song about being horny for Esmeralda. I mean, me too, but settle down, guy. That was weird.
I mean, she was pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Disney movies
But
were
it's
made
that whole
different
gypsy
back then.
thing.
Yeah.
I'd say Clayton's death in Tarzan's pretty rough for a Disney movie. Just
Oh, the
essentially
hanging?
hanging himself. Yeah.
Rough. And the shadow, yeah, well, it was bad.
Chucksenhausen says, cheers to the drinker. Just wanted to ask, what was the most surprising moment from part 2 of Cobra Kai's final season? Probably that dude getting fucking stabbed in the middle of a fight scene. I did not expect that shit.
Yeah. And everyone just
Like-
stops. They're surprised. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck
Well, the
did
thing
you
is,
think
they're-
was going to
they're all-
happen?
They're all in the middle of fighting for their lives already, but it's like this guy gets stabbed, and it's like, oh wow, let's take it to the next level.
Yeah,
man. I didn't
yeah,
expect
literally.
that.
Yeah. Like, maybe we shouldn't
So-
do this. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I thought when I saw the knife, I thought, oh shit, what if he actually like stabs someone important, like Daniel or Johnny or something? But yeah, they're not going to go to that stage. CM Dr. Darty says, Andor is maybe the only hope to get morally great and interesting characters in Star Wars. Disney/Filoni just cannot do them. Anyone remembers reworked Revan, Kriya, etc. by Obsidian? Still miss Chris Avallone.
I'll give some credit to the Skeleton Crew. I feel like Jod, whatever, that he comes close to satisfying that sort of requirement. I like him. I wouldn't mind seeing him again sometime.
Bless you.
So, I'll give Skeleton Crew that. So because like Andor, I would commonly say is basically the only thing redeemable that Disney have managed to pull off. But Skeleton Crew is he's sitting in the corner of that club. He's like, I'm here too, and I'm like, that's all right. You there? You've done some
He can
stuff.
stay. He's over there. He's all
I
right.
love the idea. It's like, I'm here. I'm still doing stuff. Please notice me. Kim Husby says, I'm currently enjoying MauLer's playthrough of The Last of Us 2. He is still quite cheerful in the beginning. Wonder if his mood changes after a while.
Oh no!
You're playing that game?
No, not now. Back when it came out.
Okay.
What's funny is it comes out and then I go, okay, I'm going to do Last of Us 1, which I loved.
It was great.
Like story, of course. And then Last of Us 2, I was like, all right, I'm going to give it a fair shake. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I don't, I want to see what they do. And yeah, when Joel gets killed, you couldn't watch in real time. I go from being like, and I'm just like depressed, angry, and then I start ranting excessively.
Yeah, me too.
Play the high note says, R.I.P. David Lynch. Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Adios, sir. RNTZ says, Chuck Norris can checkmate you in a Scrabble game. That is true. He's got that power. Rossi says, what's this? Badger plus theory equals pure gold. Okay.
All right.
Sorry, Jay.
It's okay. I have my own thing going here.
Ross is busy simping for us. It's okay.
Zeddy Boy says, hey up, MauLer. Hope you enjoyed your week off.
Hey up. Well,
with Mel.
Yeah, he came for 2 weeks, actually. Don't take that out of context. It was a good time.
That's impressive.
Oh,
look at you.
It's all about how you can sustain it, yeah.
But we had some punishment. We did a full playthrough
long man
too, and some other stuff.
So what you're saying is you had some punishment and then he came for 2 weeks straight. Okay.
You can interpret these statements however
I had plans to come and visit
we will.
but I don't think I'm going to do that now. He also says, looking forward to Sonic 3, an unbridled triumph. Could it ever happen, MauLer?
I still haven't seen Sonic 3. Nor have I seen Sonic 1 or 2. So,
bro. So I waited until the third one. I watched 1, 2, and then saw the third one. Rejuvenation, spiritual rejuvenation for the soul. Very good movies. I loved them. Yeah.
Huh.
Loved all of them.
Nice. Good. Hopefully it continues. Flav says, another freebie. Your monthly begging note from me requesting more emoticons for your members. Mucho gracias, arse. And hail to Drinker and MauLer. Okay, sure.
Yeah, all right.
What do you want more emoticons for the member streams? I can do that. I can get my people to make more. Just let me know what sort of symbols you want right there. Jordan Pendragon says, the exciting moment of watching Star Wars with the kids finally arrives, but the question thus remains, begin with A New Hope or Phantom Menace?
New Hope.
New Hope. My God.
New Hope.
Watch them the way they were built.
The machete cut is fun, but for someone the first time, New Hope.
Well, that's not even machete. Isn't even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Or whatever where you switch it up.
Four, yeah. Have you guys ever done 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6? That's
I think
what you just said makes no sense to me right now.
So the idea is that you get the reveal for Luke and Anakin at the end of 5, and then you watch the full history as like a sort of like that's how we got here. That's what it is, and then you go into 6 as a sort of like, and this is how it ends.
Yeah.
It's a cool idea.
If I could scrub my memory and try it different ways, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, George always talked about how it was a different experience depending on how you watch it. So it's always fun. Something I like to do is watch reactions of people watching the movies, and like certain ones like Revenge of the Sith or 5, and it's nice to see they're just like, what? Depending on what order they watched.
I think George said that the surprise goes from like, he's his dad to he told them type of thing. But I don't know which would hit harder. I prefer obviously the original because it was how I saw it. But
yes, me too, man.
Curious.
How old are you?
39.
Okay, yeah, so we're around the same age. Yeah, so dude, when I saw it as a kid, I was like, he's his dad. What the fuck?
Is he lying? Can't be real.
Yeah. I literally I I thought he was lying.
And then
so I didn't believe
Obi-Wan
it.
being that fucking slippery little liar dude.
From a certain point of view.
Yeah.
Fucking Obi-Wan.
Didn't like I never had this properly confirmed. Like when they actually recorded the dialogue, was it not like Vader saying to Luke that Obi-Wan killed
Obi-Wan
your
killed your
father?
father.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And that's what Hamill was reacting to.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
is
if Hamill knew, I think that he's Mark has told this is like what I'm about to tell
Yeah.
you. You know.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
he was
generally, I don't give a
reacting-
fuck what Mark Hamill has to say about anything these
know.
days. But like, yeah,
Oh my
stuff
god,
like that.
dude!
Okay, it's kind of
What
cool
the
story, though.
fuck, man! Like, seriously, it's insane the level of shit that he just posts.
I
nonstop.
literally
Well, he,
blocked Mark Hamill on Twitter to not have to see
I-
his
I
nonsense.
I mean, after the
can't
anymore.
election,
believe
I
it.
think he actually broke. Like he left social media for some
I think
time,
he's-
right?
Yeah,
He
I think
basically
he's left
said it,
Twitter
too.
altogether now, hasn't he?
He
He's
said
gone
Trump
to
broke
Blue
him.
Sky.
Yeah. So
Jeez, man,
maybe.
it's I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, hope it was worth it, Mark. Whatever.
Hey, but
whatever
he
blood money they paid you.
played the character like George wanted. That's I'm very good at differentiating actors with the characters they play.
I mean,
but at
I'll
this
say
point, would you want
he-
him back? Sorry, MauLer.
I was just going to say he unfortunately played the character that Ryan wanted as well.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
I
Here's
think
here's
Mark
a-
would hurt the character now if he came back. He's going like a Sebastian Stan or someone else.
It'd be
Oh my god, Sebastian
depends if
Stan
he's-
would be so good.
It depends if he's got any like actual pull over the writing of the character, or if he's literally just there to say what
He doesn't.
lines he's given.
So apparently, and this goes way back to when they were making The Last Jedi. He, from what I heard, I was like super into the rumors back then. He like went to a pub or some shit in was it Ireland they were shooting?
Yeah,
is
it's
that
off
what
the
Skellig
coast of
Michael is?
Ireland, I think.
Yeah, so it was. I didn't want to say Scotland, I guess. And he sat down with Ryan Johnson, and he was like, "Look, like you got it wrong." And then he was trying to convince him the whole time, and he had like no pull whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, in the documentary, he talks about it quite a bit, and it's just nothing you can do. You have to.
I
Literally.
fundamentally
Which is
disagree with every
crazy.
decision you've made about the Luke Skywalker character.
Yeah, he went.
Honestly,
ran
I
that,
think if
like,
it was me and I
yeah.
felt that strongly about it, I'd be like, I'm just not going to fucking show up for filming.
Yeah, I wish he had done
Well,
that.
contractually, right? You got to be careful. It depends what you've agreed to up to that point.
Well, then I'll just be like, you know what? I've suffered from an acute case of depression, and I just can't film anymore. I can't act.
My
Sorry.
mental
What-
health is
I just wish,
suffering as a result of
Yeah,
this
it's
script.
like, well, what are you going to do? You're going to prove me wrong? You can't. So
Because
A lot of people thought
I'm
that-
assuming he was bound to a 3-film contract before Ryan even fucking put pen to paper. But you
Yeah.
should probably have something in there to be able to fight
He-
for your character.
yeah, he was actually bound to a contract before Disney even bought over Lucasfilm. He was originally signed up with old
With
Lucasfilm
George.
under George. Yeah,
Yeah,
with the potential to come back, not knowing where it was going to lead.
Well, they had already started 7, and I know this from a very, very credible source that worked directly with George. They had started 7, and that was the plan. Was George was going to finish 7, and then he was going to sell it. So it kind of like corner Disney to just, hey, you have to go along and continue the story the way I outlined it. But he didn't do that because they promised him that they're going to follow his treatment. And they never did.
Sounds about right.
Meanwhile, had he just taken the 10 years, he'd have been done with the sequels. They'd have been fine.
Exactly.
Whatever. Hindsight.
He wanted
2020.
to focus on his kids, and to be honest, Star Wars fans, I can understand, probably are pretty difficult. And I saw him when I think it was Mark Hamill getting a star, or anyways, one of them. He was like talking about how you have to do it a certain way, and otherwise fans will not let you be. And I like to experiment, and it's not fun if you can't experiment. And so he's like, "Nah, I'm done," and he just literally walked off the podium.
It does make me wonder if the prequels had been better received, would he have stuck with it?
I think 100%.
I think he would have.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that stupid movie, The Fans Against George or whatever, I think that really messed with him.
Fandom Menace thing or whatever it was. Yeah, that really did bother him.
Yeah, and so he's like, you know what? I just want to live a good life. I made my money. I want to spend time with my kids. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. And he's
I think
making
at
his
that
own
point,
movie.
I wouldn't have felt the need to sell it because he was already like a bajillionaire to begin with. Like, just let the property sit as it is. Like, why'd you have to sell it to another company? Obviously,
Hey,
they're going to fuck
let's
it over.
remember, most of everybody was very happy about the decision at the time. Disney would
Yeah.
nowhere near the reputation they have now.
I was
Yeah,
happy.
little did we know.
I thought I thought they would just badly copy all the expanded universe and we get Luke and the Jet, and they just didn't do any of it.
Yeah.
Here's a question: has Sparky Jay watched Lord of the Rings yet? What do you think, Sparky? Have you seen it?
I don't know who Snarky Jay is.
No.
I have still not watched Lord of the Rings.
Extended edition when you do.
Yeah, give it some of your
Okay,
time.
it's really long. It's not that I have a
Yeah.
problem with it. And I'll watch them. I don't care. But like I like to marathon these things. And I have not yet had a day where I can go like, all right, 16 hours of my day is going into this.
Jesus. No marathon
It's
Lord of
like
the Rings?
16 hours, isn't
You know,
it? It's
most
a
people
lot.
Yeah.
got away with just watching one per year back in the day. You'll be fine. You can do
Rift
that
stream.
too.
Well, have
Yeah,
you
'cause,
seen
like-
Harry Potter?
What?
Have you seen Harry Potter?
I read the books twice. I did not watch the movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
watched them.
Why didn't you watch the
No,
movie?
because
Weren't
I
you
didn't want
curious?
to. I didn't want to ruin the idea I had in my head, so I didn't.
It's not
wanna
as
watch
it's
the
not as
movies.
bad. No, I read the books too, and it's not as bad. It's actually done well.
The movies help me
Yeah.
visualize things in the books.
Yeah,
I have a very vivid imagination. That's why I write and read a lot of fan fiction. So
clearly with all the fire talk today.
Well, why do you watch any adaptations then?
Yeah. Vivid.
because I have nothing better to do, MauLer. Thank you
Well,
very
then watch
much.
Harry Potter.
Well, did you read the Lord of the Rings books?
No.
Okay.
Okay, if I read the books, will people leave me alone about it? Like, would that work?
No, they'll still want you to
Honestly,
watch the
you
movies.
probably
Would
find
that
this a lot
work?
like
Why are you trying
easier
to
and quicker
avoid
to
the
just
Lord of
watch the
the Rings?
movies.
Yeah, literally.
Listen to someone
Okay.
trying to get out of watching like the greatest cinematic
Yeah.
things of all time.
Yeah, like
Listen,
fucking
okay, I
Harry
promise-
Potter, and like you're
I
not going to read Lord of
promise-
the Rings. Jesus.
Making a deal right fucking now that before the month is over, I will have watched all the Lord
Just
of the
do one a
Rings movies.
week.
Extended
I'll do
edition.
it. I'll do it. I'll do it.
You'll enjoy it.
Extended version.
Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly,
thank
you
you,
could
MauLer.
you could stream yourself watching it and do your reaction to it. And
There
I
you
don't
go.
think anybody wants to watch me watch movies.
Oh my
I'm
God.
so annoying.
That kind of
trust me, when
content's
when it comes to
People are
movies
gonna-
like this, they will.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super Opinion Man says MauLer, the man who knew too little, is better than Hot Fuzz. That is my super opinion. Go away now.
Why do you say that as if Drinker would also not find that very interesting? It's not just me.
It's just you. Like he just wants you.
All right. Well, I guess I'll have to really think over if I think Hot Fuzz. By the way, I don't know if we've probably mentioned this. I think that's like one of, if not one of the greatest, just old timers forever and ever. It's like my top 3. I think it's hard to beat Hot Fuzz.
This is where we have to
or
pressure
movies?
Snarky Jay to watch
No,
the
just
Cornetto
movies.
trilogy now
Okay.
as well.
Really? Hot
Yeah.
Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz's script is one of the tightest in history. It's
Might have to rewatch
amazing.
that then.
Yeah, legit. Like Snarky, have you seen? And Theory as well. Actually, have you seen Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz,
No,
The
I
World's
haven't.
End?
No, I haven't.
I saw Hot Fuzz. Was that the zombie one? Because I'm pretty
No,
sure I
that's
saw Hot Fuzz, and
Shaun
there's
of
a
the Dead.
zombie one too that I saw.
Shaun of the Dead is the zombie one. Hot Fuzz
Yeah.
is like the police one.
Yeah, I watched both of those years
Amazing
ago with
movie.
my pops. Those were good.
Masterclass on making a script. Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, like you will struggle to find a tighter, like more well-contained script that just like accounts for basically everything. It's such a pleasure to watch something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Master of Puppets says, finally catching Open Bar live. While the Daredevil trailer does look good, we've been burned way too much by the House of Mouse to have much hope for it. I think you're fair. I can
Valid.
totally
Vincent
see
and
where you're coming
Charlie.
from on that one.
The only reasons I think a little bit of clout might have shielded off any horrible decisions.
Bernthal, I think, is the biggest indicator that it's
Bernthal,
quite good.
Yeah.
Because I get the impression he does not sell out for anything with that character, and he wouldn't have come back unless it was good. So hopefully.
Let's hope.
Stephen DeLeon says, Ripper, so she was always... What? I can't even say that. Okay, anyway, moving on. Turbo Topology says, Disney, why make billions when we can lose millions? Exactly, yeah.
True.
Rossi says, I've been calling you T for years. Well, there you go. Jose Bag of Donuts says, MauLer, have you ever had Price of Reason on EFAP? Love everyone's work and hail.
No, I don't think so. But maybe in future.
Price of Reason, nice guy. We stream with him every Thursday on Pre-Open Bar right before I jump in here sometimes. Yeah, no, he's a good guy. Good guy. Little
Nice.
sock puppet. Little Mon Calamari sock puppet.
What the hell is this? Drinker in an American accent say, okay. I can't even say it. It's like Snarky Jay. Snarky Jay, what the fook?
All
Can I
right.
have that as my ringtone now?
50
You
bucks
can
for
indeed,
that.
yeah. Clip that right now.
There's a lot of things being clipped today.
Yeah.
The Culk is
Anyway.
the best one.
Like
Remember?
Space Whiskey says the Queen died on this show. Damn, what a deadly bar. Cheers. I mean, yeah, that's it.
Well, yeah.
She's pretty old. She
only
can't
the
hold her
strong
drink anymore.
survive.
Pretty
Yeah.
old.
Well, she hadn't seen Lord of the Rings either.
Ooh.
Prove it.
You know when they say old people are like
Is
seasoned
that a
drinkers?
threat?
It's
That was weird.
bullshit, man. Color or Cooler says, go ahead and shoot. I'll come back. I always come back, but dying is such a bitch. Which movie is that from? Help.
Shoot, go ahead and shoot, but I'll come back. I always go back. Dying is such a bitch. Chat,
I am not
No
familiar
clue.
with that one.
Chucky,
Highlander 2.
Bride of Chucky.
People are saying
Sixth Day.
Child's
Sixth
Play.
Day. It could be Sixth Day, actually.
Sixth Day. Oh yeah, Sixth Day.
Yeah.
That's not a horrible movie, even though it's kind of a horrible movie.
I enjoy
Oh,
the Sixth Day.
Such
Yeah.
a fucking cop-out ending. Yeah, I think we'll go with Sixth Day. Seems to be it. Johnny Z says, as died that year too. R.I.P. Heels versus Babyface. You are missed. Hey, he's still with us.
That's a
in
different
spirit. There we go. Rossi says, gave us an emoji, a sticker emoji. Master of Puppets says, Drinker, have you seen Red Dragon, the prequel to Silence of the Lambs? Yes, I have. There's an actor named Rafe Fiennes in it. I think you've seen him in the menu. MauLer, have you got your drunk German go free?
That's such a private meme at this point. But yes.
Just like everything relates back to the menu at this point.
I mean, I've seen people discuss it here and there on like Twitter and everything, and it does seem that it's gained more appreciation over time, even though it's a fucking pretty new movie.
Yeah,
it's a fun one.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot to chew over on that one.
Should I watch that? I did not watch it. I ignored it. The
menu? Yes.
Yeah, I think it's worth seeing for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, like look at the subtext of what it's trying to tell you about people's understanding of art and how they process it, and how that ultimately destroys the magic of actually creating it in the first place. I think you can get a lot out of that movie.
I'm
An
retarded, so if
exploration
you
of-
explain the subtext to me first, I might actually see it. As opposed to think it's a cooking movie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Each of the characters represent something in terms of like a form of consumption of art. You'll definitely get several of them, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's fair.
And then you'll see like shades of all of us in it and think,
Yes.
I actually want to murder all of them now. So
In Minecraft.
Art really
yeah. Bogdan Anichescu. Sorry if I butchered your name there. When I first heard about EFAP, I thought it was some kind of digital masturbation session. I mean, it is.
Me too.
ultimately,
A
so-
long one too.
one of the that's the joke moments. Like, but yes, we also pause every frame.
Paul Connolly says, Hail Drinker and MauLer and the whole panel. I try not to send anything too political, but I feel so happy for you, Star Wars Theory, not having to suffer any longer under the Dark Lord of Woke.
Thanks, man. It's been tough, and I've had to like curate my answers for years, and I'm just happy to finally feel like I can speak my mind without, I don't know, being
You're
taxed or
free.
go to jail or something like that. Yeah, it's for a guy like me, it's been tough, but
Hey man, we live in the UK, so like pretty much if I post a mean tweet, that's me. I'm going to be in jail for the rest of my
I
life.
thought you were going to say we live in the UK.
Yeah.
We never have a respectable leader.
Well, that's true as well. Yeah.
at least you won't get your bank accounts frozen if he doesn't agree with you or some shit like that.
Bro.
Yeah. The Hidden Duck says, I'm not going to lie, the Daredevil trailer looks very good. I'm very cautiously optimistic. Well, keep being that way. Be cautious, but be optimistic at the same
It's
time.
going to take every episode too, by the way, before we let our guard down. Be like, yep, it was all good. We're going to have to wait till the very end so
Yeah.
the shoe doesn't drop.
It's a sad state of affairs that's where we've gotten to with all these shows, where it's like you can't just relax into it and enjoy it. You have to be on guard, almost like, oh, is it going to pull some like switcheroo on us, or is it going to be a bait and switch, or is it just going to be absolute trash? And then, slowly you might be able to relax and enjoy it eventually. That's the hope. But yeah, that's what modern entertainment's become. The Chicago box says, "Don't fear the drinker. No, do fear me, actually, because I'm coming for you."
I'm gonna get you.
Abraham Snog says, "MauLer and Drinker, what are your thoughts on Bullseye's story in season 3? He's by far my favorite villain in the MCU. Hopefully he gets the costume in Born Again." I liked his portrayal. I mean, I'm basing him off the Colin Farrell fucking version.
Oh, he's way better than that, of course. But
yeah.
The only thing I remember about him was I was like, fuck me, he is like hyper overpowered to the point where I couldn't even quite believe Daredevil was surviving against him. You know, like, give him a handful of pencils and you're dead. There's nothing you can do. And when he's against him in the office filled with stationery, I was like, oh, he's so dead. There's nothing you can do. There's pencils everywhere, buddy. But no, I enjoyed him, and it'll be cool to see him back.
Yeah. Guitars and Death Stars. That's a great name. It says, "Today is my 30th birthday. Glad to be catching the live stream. Have a drink on me and keep up the great work, everyone." Thank you, my friend.
Birthday.
Happy birthday.
I remember being 30. It was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
I was so optimistic back then. Anyway, Andrew Valdez says, "With how Marvel's been doing lately, I don't think Daredevil is going to be good at all. I have absolutely no faith in it, and I'm going to wait for a review." Oh, yeah, you're just going to make us be the canaries in the coal mine, eh?
That's fine.
That's kind of what we're here for, to be fair.
It's not much, but it's honest work.
It's our job.
Yeah.
It's kind of our job, but you know.
Gives you all a wasting disease after a while, but it's all right. We'll suffer through it.
It's just my soul that gets sacrificed.
I do understand now, before watching ads and like the whole Batwoman and all the other things, the Robin in the Hood. It's like, oh, no wonder that poor guy. You can't get so many horrible products back to back without it taking a hit.
As like just straight up didn't do Rings of Power season 2. He's like, I can't do it.
I understand. I was probably safe for him.
Disparu has become the new As. His ability to like slog through absolute shite is just incredible.
I worry about that
Disparu's
boy,
a different
though.
animal. I kind of adore about him is that he's forever searching for that other Willow. He wants that experience again. A show that's so bad that it's like he loves
chasing the dragon.
Yeah,
for every new one that comes out, he'll never get there.
He's like, please give me that experience again. They're so bad, it's good, and it's rare. I totally understand because I love them as well, like the really bad ones.
Yeah. Was Willow that bad?
Willow was fucking hilariously
worse
awful.
than you even watch it now.
Willow was so bad that it was erased from Disney's servers. Like, you literally can't even watch it anymore. It's been unpersoned.
Yeah, that every time Warwick Davis fucking posts about like how, you know, it's a travesty that Willow is taking it, you'll just see Disparu underneath and being like, yeah, Warwick, get this back, buddy. Like,
we believe in you. Stand tall and say what you think. Okay. Rami Goodwin says, "If I'll be a successful actor, I'll make sure to give you shout-outs and avoid the message projects and refer to your amazing critiques. It's funny and constructive. No one should be upset." Thank you. Appreciate it. Best of luck. I Make Vids says, "Here's a neat drinking game. Next time you watch Smile 2, take a shot every time you see a bottle of Voss water. Anyway, love you guys."
Yeah, she really gets into him.
Yeah. You know that this just jumped into my head here. Remember in Smile 1, right, when the girl's struggling mentally, right, with all these things that she keeps seeing, and she like pours herself a drink. It's fucking wine, but she pours it out like it's like 100% whiskey. And like pouring like this tiny little measure and like doing a shot of it, and it's like it's a fucking glass of wine. Like, what do you think that's going to do for you? I don't know. It just always made me laugh. Like, you're acting like this badass hard drinker.
The second one, the second Smile. I watched the first one. I liked it. I did not watch the second one. Is it worth a watch?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it's pretty entertaining. The main actress is really fucking good.
I would say that's a standout for me. I didn't really like either of them, but there's bits I like some of the way they do the monster effects.
I like the gimmick.
Yeah, so some of the spookiest scenes are good, and then the actress in the second one I was quite taken away. Was just like, wow, she is trying her ass off.
Wasn't she Jasmine? And she's also like the Pink Ranger in that Power Ranger reboot.
Yeah,
she was Kimberly.
This was much more of a show of what she's capable of than those.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good.
No, she gives it her all, and
Power Rangers wasn't a stretch for her acting.
I wouldn't imagine so.
No. Naomi Scott. Yeah, thank you.
Grandmaster Chris says, "Nothing short of a full-on reboot and new story group, ideally not including that overrated hack Dave Filoni, Sorry, Star Wars theory. Is going to save Star Wars or just vault it. Badger, who wins, Mara Jade or Cade Skywalker?
Oh, fuck. Oh, I actually thought I was going to answer that a lot easier because I guess it depends on what age Mara is. So if you same age Mara, like when she's the Emperor's hand versus Cade, peak power. Yeah, I could see that going different ways. I'd probably say Cade just because I'm biased and sexist, maybe, but Mara would probably win because she'd do darker things. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on the age. Older Mara would probably beat Cade from experience.
You're just an angry old conservative white man, aren't you?
I'm curious to see what Theory would say to that.
Personally, I feel so triggered right now.
Sorry, I did all this.
Yeah.
So I've only gone as far as Vector Prime. I mean, I know a lot about Mara Jade just from reading like the cliff notes essentially through the years and like comic books, but I would probably have to say, in terms of experience, yeah, Mara Jade when she's older.
Yeah.
But in terms of like potential, yeah, we know the answer to that.
Because Cade is.
Yeah.
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 Sorry.
Sexism.
Cade, baby.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Yeah.
Drink a ban them.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
No.
Yeah.
Next one says, Bendix Star says, I wouldn't even say that fans are older. I would say that they don't really have fans anymore. They need to stop making Star Wars admit that they failed to retcon everything they made and bring back Legends as canon. Yeah, so reinstate the EU, basically.
Yeah.
They're not
I
going
think...
to do that.
Well, yeah, because like, where do they go?
could,
Because they've got like a half-finished universe that they've tried to create that's different from the EU. Like, do you just stop that? Like, I don't know.
If you go on Wikipedia and you put in any character's name, like Mara Jade, and you see it'll say like canon, and then you click over to Legends, and it's 4 times as long, way better history and timelines. It's
way more passionately discussed.
Yeah,
but
well.
Yeah. John Papa Sergio says, kids don't watch Star Wars unless their parents show it to them. It's like a hand-me-down franchise. It always has been that way.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, yeah, I mean, actually, out of the 5 here, because I know I am, but how many of you were shown Star Wars by your parents?
VHS, yeah.
VHS, baby.
I'm trying to remember, actually.
My dad was excited for that one, and I was like, ooh.
The thing is, like, you know, for me, like, growing up was like the early 90s. And so, like, that was a bit of a lean time for Star Wars products. It was really just the OT, and that was it. Like, the prequels were still quite a long time away. There wasn't really any TV shows or anything. So it was just something that
all of us, right? It was for me.
Well, no, because you were born in 93 or something.
I
so,
have
like,
told you this many times, Drinker. I was fucking.
Well, no, your generation doesn't understand the struggle more. Okay.
How old
So
is everyone here? So me and MauLer are around the same. I was 90. You're 93.
I'm 85. So
Badger's 85.
Yeah, I am 83.
Oh.
So when I watched it first, it was the first round of VHSs. I can distinctly remember the first cover jacket of Star Wars with Luke holding the lightsaber. I didn't know what a lightsaber was.
Yeah.
You know, Leia sitting there inappropriately hugging onto his thigh because that's his sister now. Yeah, I just remember that. And then it was sort of just always there. Star Wars was always just there.
Yeah.
And then the special editions came out and I got to see those in the theater. But yeah, the VHS was just always there in my library.
So
I
we're all
think for me, it was
millennials here. That's what I'm saying.
I assume so.
some of
Well,
us
wait.
are.
Drinker's Gen X, right?
No, I'm millennial.
No, you're a
I
millennial.
think,
Oh, okay.
yeah, Gen X kind of finishes around.
There's some
1980, I think.
crossover there, by the way, though. The 80s babies, and we're a little Gen X-y, and you're,
You think so? I think
I
99
grew up
is
on
like
street
the-
lights. I had
really matter anyway.
keys to the house, and you know, it's a little bit of a crossover.
Point being
Yeah.
is like I was being shown, you know, Predator by the time I was 8. So my dad was absolutely showing me Star Wars when I was like,
Yeah,
5.
yeah.
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 Yeah, but did
I
you have to
think
sneak watching Angel or something because they thought it was too hardcore for you?
My parents were retarded. No, love them. But my dad would be trying to get away with showing me Alien, but simultaneously like a teenage show on like the middle of the day. Be like, I don't know. The main thing with that was just like, are there boobs in it? You can't see that yet. It's too young.
Yeah.
But literally,
Which was
watching men
most
be
80s
skinned-
action movies, to be fair.
Watching them being skinned alive, that was fine. It was
That's
just like, yeah, whatever.
The boobs is where they drew the line.
There was no issue.
Yeah. Got to
Very
have
American
standards.
here too.
Andrew Valdez says, also no offense to Theory at all, but I'm so tired of people saying it's like a kids show, so you don't have to worry about it. Like, go away, kids shows can still be good. Kids deserve good things.
Yeah, it was good. was a good kids show.
I don't know if I call it good. It's like
Well,
it's
good.
almost
Good in
there.
what context? It was a good kids show. It wasn't a bad kids show.
In the
I think maybe he's talking like as a matter of general principle. You know, like the argument that people sometimes make, where it's like, well, it's a kids show, so it can be retarded as fuck because who cares? Kids are stupid. And yeah, like we were all kids theoretically at one point, and like we expected like relatively intelligent shows even back then. So
well, absolutely, you don't want something to be absolutely retarded, but you want it to be, you know, have some elements in there, character development and stuff. And I think Skeleton Crew does a fine job of that. Is it freaking Return of the Jedi? No. But
well, maybe that's what they're trying to say, right? So when we get to the point of saying, "Oh, it could have been so much better if they did X, Y, Z," and the response is like, "Yeah, but it's a kids show. It's like, who cares? Make it that much better."
well, did you not like any kids shows that perhaps today you would find boring? Like, did you ever watch, I don't know, Barney or?
Well, I think that's like a whole other level, though. Like you
That's what
can't
I'm saying.
compare
I watched
like
Static
Sesame
Shock
Street to
when I was a
SpongeBob,
kid.
you know?
Like that was probably a kid show, but if you watch it as an adult, Static Shock's actually written it's that Batman expanded universe shit. So it's like it was kids, but it was still written.
So when I review shows, I look at
is it like it ties into what MauLer was saying there, like where like your parents were letting you watch shit like Predator and stuff and Terminator 2 when you were like 8 years old or something, like probably when it's inappropriate, but it doesn't matter because that's what we were actually capable of like dealing with at that age, but we kind of forget that as adults. And so, yeah, like you can definitely get stuff that's specifically targeted at kids in terms of like kids shows like Skeleton Crew, but you'd be surprised. And like we are continually surprised by like kids are actually capable of processing much more mature content than we give them credit for.
For sure.
And so, yeah, there is no excuse for like it being stupid or not making sense. Because they can tell if that stuff doesn't fit together, you know.
For sure, but then are we going to be judging everything with the same scale, the same sort of standard?
The only difference I would say is like, okay, I can get why you would tone down violence or implied violence in characters for the sake of like the audience, but like in terms of the way the plot fits together and it making sense, and even like the level of complexity, I think you don't have to tone it down that much for children.
Yeah, you're hitting on. So, like, when it comes to a kid's thing, like the themes need to be scaled down. We can't be talking about fundamentals of existence with children's content, or at least if you are, it needs to be in a way that they can miss it, that the adults can pick it up. And you know, as Drinker just mentioned, way scale down any nudity, violence, drug use, all the standard stuff. But simultaneously, you can keep an edge and a bite and really work hard on the plot. Right? I don't think anybody watches something like Incredibles or WALL-E and says they didn't need to write it that good. This is for kids.
Absolutely. But I think in terms of, you know, plot points such as like, you know, should Jod have really been that easy on the kids? It's like, well, if this was more of an R-rated story, then, you know, he would have sliced them and diced them in 2 seconds.
The trope thing, right? Like there's rules that a kid's show will abide by that doesn't necessarily dictate the level of quality of writing. With Jod, I think that's just a character decision. They did not want to make him an outright bad guy. He was never going to actually hurt them. And
so that's what makes something a kid's show versus, you know, the standards that the level that these antagonists are willing to go. It's like if we were watching something that was more of like a, I don't know, Terminator, you know, you're not going to see him have like a moral dilemma there.
Wrong.
Well, I think there's also levels
he refuses to kill like pregnant women. You'd be like, oh, what's this silly nonsense in my R-rated films? Like, well, no, it's a part of the Predator's code. They write that such that it's that way.
I think that's a little
Terminator 2 as well. They write him so that he can't kill people unnecessarily.
You can have a mature film with characters like you don't see children die.
But that's quote unquote the good guy in the film. The bad guy kills everybody. He doesn't discriminate.
Totally. Right? What are you talking about? There's loads of villains that have all kinds of moral codes. That's what makes them more varied and interesting, right? Like,
right. But what I'm saying is, for a kids show, those moral codes are heightened to the max, and there's limiters. Whereas in, you know, something that's more R-rated, meh.
Well, I don't think with every kids thing, like if you look at like some Pixar stuff, right? Like Monsters Inc. is a great kids movie, but you also have a bad guy whose whole thing is he wants to torture children for electricity for the Monster City. Like that's his whole thing.
Well,
and that's like there's no justification.
Like,
that lady skins dogs.
Yeah, like or fucking look, even in the context of Skeleton Crew, like Jude Law's character straight up kills one of his fellow pirate rivals when he's been like immobilized. He's like,
and
yeah,
Brutus
this guy,
was sort of
yeah,
a caricature.
But it's an adult.
Also-
you don't see any kids getting killed, and then in
Sure, yeah,
Dalmatians, she gets overrun by Dalmatians. Like what? What is
Okay,
this?
have you seen
How is this
Coraline?
realistic?
Oh, that's
That's
a good
a
one.
kids' film where there's many children's deaths, and the whole villain is like essentially capturing their souls permanently in like a torturous environment. It's Return to Oz, obviously famously one of the most darkest children's films that people typically seen. Watership Down, pretty dark. Bambi's opening. It's like we get all kinds of shit from kids' content that can be dark or regard death. It's just I'm almost trying to defend Skeleton Crew here. I think they did a good job of justifying why he was non-violent to children.
Yeah.
Like for what he experienced in his history, I can buy that he doesn't want to, and he shows it in his acting. Every time there's a moment where he knows he could solve the problem easily if he just shot the child, you can tell he's conflicted. He's like, I don't want to do
Like
that.
the second episode or third episode when he went back for the robot instead of just killing them all and stealing the ship, I was like, okay, I see where we're going with this. We'll go with it. And it was fine. Yeah, and
But I
then
think
his
when-
speech about tired of being hungry, it all lines up.
Sure.
It's just
It's motive and an experience and like life path. But I don't think
Yeah.
anyone's excusing, shit storytelling and saying, oh, it's just a kids show. No, I think we're kind of examining and bringing light to the fact that there's limiters on kids shows that you wouldn't normally see in some sort of a R-rated movie for
correct.
adults.
I think what we're saying is they could have pushed that limit a little bit more and still be well within the bounds of like a show appropriate for kids. But
I
they played it more or
the-
less safe.
I think the
which
way I
is
would
that has
fine.
nothing to
this
do with the
is-
plot, though. The plot was just a simple, lighthearted kids
Yeah.
show, and because it's simple. So when you say kids show, it's simple. There's nothing too grandiose or dark in there. At the end of the day, I mean, the pirates were kind of if you put those pirates in, a movie like The Terminator, I mean, they're not pirates. They're like what are these guys?
Sure, I
Special.
think the way I would interpret this is like they made the creative choice that they wanted to just tell a lighthearted Goonies in space kind of adventure. Okay, and that lends itself naturally to being a kids oriented adventure because like it's them going off having fun, like being a little bit of mild peril and stuff, but like it's not too violent and it's not too dark or whatever. But like it doesn't imply that like you can never do stuff like that within the context of a children's story. It's just you're limited perhaps by the degree of violence that you can show on screen, but you can imply a lot without actually showing it, and you can still get into like quite dark territory.
John
if you
threatening
really want
to carve up the kids
Well, I
and their parents was sort of dark.
That is dark, but I think with movies, it's kind of like you have your own stories or whatever, but it's just like what you said, Drinker, the level of peril that you're willing to go. It's like with the Goonies, no kid is really going to get like tortured or beheaded or something like that. And the villains, there's really a limit that they could reach where they can't really cross that because then you're now getting into a different realm. Let's say, something PG-13 and then 14A and then rated R and then something that's horrible, like the Terrifier level in terms of horror or the Saw. So it's kind of like this level of this limiter that's put there on a kids show. Nothing really bad's going to happen. You're kind of in for the ride, but with the safety net of knowing that no one's really going to, in the end, it'll all be okay. It's much more forgiving.
Fair dues. David Gannon here says, I'm 55, so I saw Star Wars, excuse me, in its original theatrical run. Next was on Super TV, a subscription channel competing with HBO in the days before cable. It was first broadcast of Star Wars, and we've recorded it on our VCR. I watched that endlessly. Nice. I like little stories like that. And I remember VCRs. I loved my VCR. You could just record stuff off TV.
Yeah.
That's great. Also from J Mac, who gave us $100, says MauLer's dad was based. I showed kids 7 and 11 years old Alien, and she loved it. We prefaced it with the understanding that it's not real. Same thing with other older movies, showing them Predator next. Even if things go over a kid's head, they'll remember a good movie. Yeah, I agree with that.
I certainly
For
did.
sure.
I as well saw Predator. I was like 9, super inappropriate, but you understand it's fake eventually, hopefully.
And that's what I find interesting is like our generation got to see like, darker, more manly movies kind of thing. Whereas now it's just I don't think they have that. at all.
I don't think kids have attention spans for movies these days. I mean, I definitely got exposed to a lot of things that I should not have watched as young as I did. I might have been more normal had I not seen these things, but I also feel like generally kids content is kind of ass these days, and they're all focused on TikTok and like Skibbity Toilet or whatever. It's like,
Jesus.
go watch Heat. Like, I know you're 13, but go watch Heat, please. Learn something.
Yeah, all these like gangster movies, movies with machoism and all that stuff. I don't know. I think it made us more normal than the new generation.
I grew up
No,
with
it
Roadhouse,
made you
Bloodsport, Terminator.
a proponent of toxic masculinity is what it did. Please
I guess,
protect male privilege.
protect
So
women.
you
be
think Kate
strong,
Skywalker would
do your
win too?
duties.
So, sorry.
She's a sexist.
Based.
Let me do a couple more here. John Papa Sergio says the only way kids would watch Star Wars is if it aired on TikTok. Haven't they started doing that on things like TikTok, where it's like a 30-second summary of the movie, like they'll condense everything down?
What's going to happen to all these
posting
TikTokers?
movies in full clips.
Dude, there's
now.
a whole it's a crazy industry
gone.
on YouTube where you can tear up any given movie, say like an indie horror movie where a bunch of crappy CGI insects invade a city and everyone dies. It'll be like the title will be really catching, like "This city died when the giant spiders infected the populace," and then it'll just be an AI voice recapping the movie's events with just a couple of scenes, and they'll make like 1 million views because people will consume a movie that way. Like in concept.
Yeah, they want cliff notes.
It reminds me, it's like an evolution of the explained videos, which, no offense, because I don't think that theory would ever make them this way, but like you have a movie and then you have someone saying, "I'll explain it." They run through the entire plot exactly as it happens. Then the last minute of the video is, it's a good film. And you're like, you didn't explain shit. You just told me what happened. Like,
I genuinely love it when like you can tell they're using an AI and it does not understand what it's looking at all.
Pronounces things wrong. And
yeah.
I think I've done a few of those actually. To be real, with the Mandalorian season 1, I just like described the. Well, no, I gave actually never mind.
Yeah,
I went deeper into it.
You can't help it. I know.
Yeah, you can't help it a little bit, but.
Here's a question for the whole panel from Derek. Says, what are some movies that you would watch twice in a row, in theory? I'm going to watch The Big Lebowski and 12 Angry Men.
They're not bad for a twice in a row watch, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I would watch Aliens twice in a row quite happily. I think I'd be quite
easy,
chill with that.
Terminator 2.
I'd watch Predator twice in a row as well.
I was gonna say Predator, Tremors. These are movies that I have and will continue to watch over and over again. Yeah,
Tremors. Yes, you're talking.
They're one of my unadulterated favorites. Tremors.
Like Memento and Prestige, where if you watch them again, they're different experiences.
Oh my god, The Prestige! What a classic.
That's a fair point too.
I could watch probably Last Samurai, Gladiator, or Troy twice in a row, or any of the first 6 Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Obviously, extended edition of all the Lord of the Rings. We could all watch that back to back.
Not Snarky Jay though.
I apparently cannot.
We'll get you there.
We'll convert you. Yeah, we'll convert you at some point. What was the next one? Derek says, have you seen the trailer for the game Dawnwalker from the director of Witcher 3? It looks way better than the Witcher 4. I have seen the trailer. Yeah, it does look pretty good.
Looks cool,
good, yeah. It's an interesting example of when a studio is the same studio in name only, and if all the talent moves over to like a brand new studio and forms a new game, you're going to get radically different results. So
it's what we try to point out. Every single studio that you love is not the studio that you love, because all the games that you love them for, most of those people have left. And it's like, well, how much do they have that's left? So The Witcher 4, they may have one creative director that worked on the first game, but most of them have left. And they're like Rebel Wolves. Rockstar's not Rockstar. Rocksteady is clearly not Rocksteady because they've all left.
Yeah. I'll do a couple more here. Objectively, a cat says, I don't find the fact that Skeleton Crew is a kid's show a compelling reason for doing the exact least interesting things with its plot and characters. I mean, it plays it safe. I think we can all probably agree on that. Like, it doesn't break any new ground narratively.
Particularly well written. A lot of it's very convenient, or just suddenly there's this. A lot of it Deus Ex Machina shit in there. I wasn't very impressed with like the broad stretches of plot, but I kind of liked some of the characters and character work. It's more praiseworthy than your average, but still, I agree. I don't, just because it's a kid's thing, I don't immediately say like, well, it's fine. Nobody worries.
let me just see if there's any other member chats here before I finish. There is.
By the way, someone asked me how I can judge Witcher 4 because CD Projekt Red has multiple videos talking about their capitulation to DEI and all that fun things that we know ruin stuff. And so that's why I'm not apt to just immediately trust everything they say.
Yeah, I think they've been quite honest about that. John Gates says 12 months of drinkertisms for me. Hey MauLer, have you ever played Cthulhu Saves Christmas? Seems only appropriate for your Lovecraftian ass. I know bad timing, but that recommendation, but keep it in mind.
Yeah, I'll have to. No, I've not played it though. That sounds perfect for me.
Snex says Mando and Grogu will be called in to save Pizza the Hut from eating himself after accidentally locking himself in his car. Okay.
And ate himself to death.
Yeah. MJ UK says the Mangu film. I love that. Mangu. Will end with Grogu saying Dada, and it'll be like totes amazing. OMG, he Grogu'd. I'm going to get wasted.
Yeah, don't give them ideas.
Yep. He Grogu'd. Oh, Jesus.
Then they can sell Grogu again, but this time he says lines when you push on him.
Yeah, you squeeze his hand.
Yeah.
Dead Dingo Dan says, quote, it's a very hateable baby, MauLer, 2025.
Stand by it.
Put that on a t-shirt.
I mean, aren't all babies fundamentally kind of hateable? Like they cry, they just want to eat.
Put that on a
like,
t-shirt.
Yeah.
Not the mama.
And let's see.
Aren't all babies hateable? Critical Drinker 2025.
Yeah.
On another shirt. There we go.
Don't you just hate them? Vilo Sipo says, cheers to all. May the force be with you. Not the current crappy plot device force, but the proper old school one. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Not the thread?
Not the thread, no.
May the thread be with you, bro.
And Grimnack says, hail. Oh, sorry, I haven't sent a super chat in a while. Times have been pretty tight with the new kid. Oh, congratulations, man. Appreciate you guys and get me through work while we do our best to keep some sort of entertainment going. So appreciate it.
That was a really rough chat to read immediately after calling all babies inherently hateable.
Rough. Depends on your mindset, Snarky.
That's only natural.
And there was one more here. Says, where did it go? Oh, they skipped up the way.
Who's this Melvin Deeply? So they're so kind. They're like constantly linking all of our.
He is
Star
one
Wars
of my
Theory Sabers. Go ahead, Melvin Deeply.
Yeah.
Yes, very excited.
He is one of my mods.
Very kind of them. Yeah, that's.
Wait for it.
Thank you.
Look at that. Star Wars Theory.
Yes.
Whee! It's real. It works.
I will probably finish it up there for this evening. But I want to say thank you to the panel. You awesome people for coming in for this. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you for having us on.
Appreciate you, man.
It was a good time.
Anytime.
It was. Thank you, MauLer. Yeah, and thank you everyone who's joined us for this in chat and sending all your very generous super chats. We appreciate it, and the ones that we haven't been able to get through tonight, we will, as always, catch up with them on last orders. But yeah, for everyone who's watched us, certainly for Theory, please take a look at theorysabers.com. You can get yourself some excellent sabers right there. Any more my guests here want to call out anything that you've got coming up? This is your chance.
We're going to be at MegaCon for all the days. We're going to have a giant booth, and we're excited to see everyone come out. Drinker's going to have his booth there as well, and Snarky Jay, I hope to see you at some point. And
for sure.
And then
I'll walk past your booth and hurl abuse at you as I go.
I'll throw a saber at your head or something.
Exactly. Yeah, come chuck a lightsaber at my head. That's what I'm looking for.
We'll do. Yeah. No, and then
tomorrow night.
Tomorrow, and then we'll be at Fan Expo Vancouver as well at the end of February. So, hope to see you guys soon. Very excited.
Friday, Inside the Badger Den, I'll have Film Comics Explained is on. You guys just had him on the ad, and then my normal group. But yeah, check it out every night, 9:00 Friday.
Nice. Snarky, what have you got coming up?
I don't even know, man. Just check out the channel, Snarky Jay.
There we go.
YouTube. That's all I got.
The links to everyone's channels are in the description. But
Thank you.
for today, that is all we've got. So go away now.
Bye.
Bye.